Elisabeth would like to thank her family, friends, coaches, and teammates for always supporting her in whatever she does. Next, we have Sophia Miller. Sophia is accompanied by her parents, Ashley and Damien. Sophia is a team captain and has been on Nightline for 4 years. After graduation, she plans on attending the University of Memphis to major in sports management with a minor in business. Sophia is a member of Code Red Dance Company and also participates in FBLA and KOE. She has also been a lifeguard for 3 summers. Sophia plans to join the Ambush Crew dance team. Sophia would like to thank her family for all their support and her coaches for their guidance. Next, the seniors from the band. First, we have Nathan Anderson. Nathan is accompanied by his parents, Rex and Rachel Anderson. Nathan has been in marching band for 4 years, playing vibraphone his first 2 years and marimba the last 2, and is a student mentor this year. After graduation, he plans on going to college to on running his laundry business and joining the National Guard. Jackson has been a member of basketball band for 4 years and ran cross country for 1 year. Jackson would like to thank Stubbs, his dad, Mr. Hartline, Miss Wade, and Miss A. Next we have Aiden KB. Next is Jaden Christensen. Jaden is accompanied by his father, Eric Christensen. Jaden has been playing the trumpet and marching band for 3 years. After graduation, he plans on going to St. Charles Community College to study law enforcement, then to the police academy. Jaden would like to thank his parents, his girlfriend Paige, and his teachers, especially Dr. Curtis. Next is Elena Clement. Elena is accompanied by her father, Greg, and mom, Carrie. Elena has been in the marching band for 4 years. After graduation, she plans on attending St. Charles Community College for 2 years, and then going into education. Elena is also a member of KOE, Senior Class Delegates, STUCO, FCA, and photo staff. Elena would like to thank her dad and mom for pushing her so hard and supporting her. She also thanks her friends and cheerleader, Ellie, for cheering her on all 4 years. Next is Molly Damery. Molly is accompanied by her parents, Natalie and John Damery. Molly has been a flute mentor for 1 year and in marching band for 4 years. After graduation, Molly plans to pursue a career in elementary music education. She's been in drama club for 4 years, choir for 4 years, and Educators Rising for 2 years. Molly would like to thank Dr. Curtis and Miss Onken for being amazing teachers who have taught her so much in the years she has been their student. Maddie and Rachel, who are some of the best friends she has ever had, and her mom and dad, who have always been her #1 supporters. Next is Kelsey Davis. Kelsey is accompanied by her mother and father, Erica and Brian Davis. Kelsey has played bass clarinet for 2 years. After graduation, she plans on attending St. Charles Community College for 2 years, then transferred to Purdue University to get a PhD in atmospheric science and become a meteorologist. Kelsey also participates in MAC Scholars. Kelsey would like to thank her parents for letting her do this, Dr. Curtis for being an amazing band director, her friends for being super duper awesome, and Mackenzie for being her other half for these 2 years. Next is Aiden Diger. Aiden is accompanied by his parents, Jack and Regina Diger. Aiden has played alto sax and marching band all 4 years. After graduation, he plans on attending community college, then transfer to either Mizzou or Missouri State and study computer science. Aiden would like to thank his parents and grandparents for supporting him through his journey, and Dr. Curtis for being a great band director. Next, we have Lena Ford. Lena is accompanied by her parents, Paula and Jason Ford. Lena has been a drum major for 1 year and marching for 3. After graduation, Lena wants to get a business degree and go to law school. She also participates in NHS, FCLA, and is senior officer for FBLA. Lena would like to thank Dr. Curtis, the band members, and her parents for making marching band the most memorable part of high school. Next, we have Travis Foster. Travis is accompanied by his dad and mom, Mike and Chris Foster. Travis has been in the marching band for 4 years. After graduation, he plans on attending St. Charles Community College for 2 years, and then transferring to Mizzou to major in computer science. Travis has also played volleyball for 1 year and been in basketball band for 4 years. Travis would like to thank his mom and dad for always supporting him, even when he wasn't his best. Next, we have Carter Howdeshell. Carter is accompanied by his mother and father, Victoria and Brian Howdeshell. Carter has been in marching band for 4 years and is the head captain of Color Guard. After graduation, Carter plans on going to Missouri State University to study graphic design and social media marketing. He also participates in STUCO, Mock Trial, KOE, NHS, yearbook publications, and Winter Guard. Carter would like to thank his mom and dad for their endless support, as well as Momo and Popo, and Dr. Curtis and Mr. C for creating a welcoming environment and encouraging him to go further in his band and guard career. Next, we have Eric Kramer. Eric is accompanied by his mom, Marianne Kramer. Eric has played bass drum for 4 years in marching band. After graduation, he plans on going to State Technical College of Missouri to study precision machining technology. Eric is also a Skills USA class representative. Eric would like to thank his mom. Loving you is like food to his soul. Next, we have Isaac Mion. Isaac has been in marching band for 2 years. After graduation, he plans on becoming a pastor. Isaac also participates in track and field, basketball, band, and FCA. Isaac would like to thank his mom, dad, God, Joy, and Jonathan. Next, we have Logan Scott. Logan is accompanied by his parents, Amy and John Scott. Logan has been in marching band for 3 years. After graduation, he plans on studying business at Missouri State University. Logan has also been on the swim and dive team for 3 years. Logan would like to thank all his coaches for pushing him to be his best self, his parents for always being there to help when he is down, and all his band and swim friends for making this the best high school experience ever. Next, we have Jack Taylor. Jack is accompanied by his parents, Amanda and Phil Taylor. He has been in marching band all 4 years, and after graduation, Jack plans on attending the University of Memphis to study mechanical engineering. Jack is also a member of Drama Club and NHS. Jack would like to thank his amazing parents for helping him with all his struggles in life, Mackenzie for being a wonderful and caring girlfriend, and his teachers for teaching him what he needs to know to move forward in life. Next is Jaden Wells. Jaden is accompanied by her parents, Laura and Charles Wells. Jaden has played the mellophone for 3 years and the French horn for 6 years in concert band. After graduation, she plans to study science, math, and engineering in college. Jaden also participates in NHS, FCA, Sun Club, SUCO, and the National Honor Society, or National Society of High School Scholars. Jaden would like to thank her parents and family for believing in her and for modeling leadership, and Jesus for showing her how to love. Now let's meet the seniors from the football team. First up, we have Matthew Bauer. Matt is accompanied by his mom and dad, Catherine and Mark Bauer. Matthew has been a football manager for 2 seasons. After graduation, Matthew would like to work with brick and stone masonry or join the Navy in the construction field. Matthew is also a member of STUCO, Senior Class Advisor, FBLA, DECA, and KOE, and Lewis and Clark Trade School. Matthew would like to thank everyone who has helped him get where he is today, especially his mom and dad. Next we have David Beeger. David is accompanied by his dad and mom, Jack and Jamie Beeger. This is David's 4th year playing football as corner and wide receiver. After graduation, he plans on going into a trade. David also plans to play basketball. David would like to thank all the coaches and his family. Next, we have Zwaylen Berger. Zwaylen is accompanied by his parents, Robert and Jennifer Berger. Zwaylen plays offensive line and defensive line. He's played football all 4 years, and after graduation, Zwaylen plans on attending St. Charles Community College Culinary School. Zwaylen also plans on being on the wrestling team this year. Zwaylen would like to thank his mom and dad for their support. Next, we have Dominic Clayton. Dominic is accompanied by his father, James Clayton, and mother, Lindsay Reckel. Dominic has been on the football team for 2 years, playing tight end and defensive end. After graduation, he plans on attending college and becoming an athletic trainer. Dominic also plays basketball for FHN. Dominic would like to thank everyone who has supported him through school and life. Next is Jackson Pfeiffer. Jackson is accompanied by his mom and stepdad, Jessica and Justin Warnock, and grandparents. Jackson has been on the football team for 4 years and plays slot receiver and cornerback. After graduation, Jackson plans to attend Mizzou and major in marketing. He hopes to become a sports marketer for an NFL team. Jackson also participates in DECA, FBLA, and track. Jackson would like to thank his parents, Grandma and Grandpa, and his teachers for always being supportive of him. Next, we have Ethan Geidel. Ethan is accompanied by his mom, Michelle Cartier, and his dad, Michael Geidel. Ethan has been on the football team for 3 years and plays linebacker. Ethan has already enlisted in the Army and plans to continue this path after graduation. Ethan also participates in track for FHN and eSports Club. He would like to thank his family. Next is Morgan Huff. Mo is accompanied by his mom and dad, Casey and Micah Huff. Mo has been on the football team for 1 year and plays wide receiver and kicker. After graduation, he plans to play D1 soccer in college and study marketing. He would like to be on a marketing team for a pro sports team. Morgan plays club soccer and is in DECA. Morgan would like to thank his parents and FHN. Next, we have George Jackson. George is accompanied by his parents, Lakeisha and George Jackson. George has been on the football team for 3 years, playing both running back and linebacker. After graduation, he plans on going straight into business work. George is also a member of the FHN wrestling team. George would like to thank his mom, dad, Nana, little sister, teammates, coaches, and friends. Next, we have Thomas Jones. Thomas is accompanied by his... Thomas has been on the football team for 3 years. He plays tackle and guard. After graduation, he plans on continuing his education. Thomas is also part of the photo staff, eSports, and board game club. Thomas would like to thank his mama for always being there to support him, his dad, his papa, and his friends. Next, we have Riley Klecker. Riley is accompanied by his parents, Brian and Jacqueline Klecker. This is Riley's 4th year playing football and is a nose guard. After graduation, he plans on attending Ole Miss to study accounting and following a path to get his CPA license. Riley also participates in KOE, Iron Knights, and is an officer in NHS. Riley would like to thank his friends that have helped him, all the teachers that supported him, and all his family that have made him who he is today. Next, we have Aiden Longworth. Aiden is accompanied by his mom and stepdad, Patricia and Donovan Dunn, and his dad, Brian Longworth. Aiden has played football for 1 year as defensive back. After graduation, he plans on attending trade school. Aiden also participates in Iron Knights. Aiden would like to thank his parents, coaches, staff, and God. is Samuel Mahiran. Sam is accompanied by his dad, Mark Mahiran, and mom, Jennifer Martin. Samuel plays running back and linebacker and has played football all 4 years. After graduation, he plans to go to tech school and be an electrician or a pastor. Samuel is also a member of FCA. Samuel would like to thank God first, his wonderful parents, his amazing sister, his coaches and teammates for guiding him to where he is today. Up next is Daniel Martin. Daniel is accompanied by his mom, Summer Stevenson. Daniel has been on the defense and offense line for 4 years. After graduation, he plans to go to Tech College to teach math and play football. Daniel would like to thank his mom, his sister, his grandma, and the Berger family. Next, we have Caleb Muchnick. Caleb is accompanied by his older brother, Cody Sanford. Caleb is a receiver and outside linebacker. This is his first year with FHN as he transferred from Pattonville. After graduation, Caleb plans to stay in state for college and study either law or education. Caleb would like to thank his friends, family, coaches, and teammates. And our final senior, Champ Polly. Champ is accompanied by his parents, Rhonda and Scott Polly. Champ has played football for 2 years at FHN after transferring from CBC. After graduation, he plans on attending college to study business and entrepreneurship in the hopes of owning his own business one day. Champ is also involved in DECA, Shield, and plays on the basketball and baseball teams. Champ would like to thank his family, especially his dad and brother, for always pushing him to be better, and his coaches and teammates for welcoming him to FHN and pushing him to be his best. Last but certainly not least, we'd like to take a moment to recognize Coach Brett Bevel. Tonight marks Coach Bevel's final home game as the head coach of Francis Howell North football program. Coach Bevel's time at North has fostered a culture of perseverance, teamwork, and integrity. His philosophy is best captured by the acronym he instills in his players, FAMILY, which stands for Forget About Me, I Love You. This motto embodies his belief in putting the team and others first, encouraging his players to prioritize supporting and lifting each other up over individual recognition. His commitment to the development of his players as both athletes and young men is reflected in the way former players return to support the program, eager to share how his guidance has shaped their lives. Many of his current coaches are former players he mentored, a testament to the lasting impact he's had on those who played under his leadership. Throughout the years, Coach Bevel has become a pillar of the Francis Howell North community. His involvement has been felt in every corner of the school, whether through his work with the football team or the countless hours he's invested in mentoring students off the field. His dedication has brought families together, united alumni, and strengthened the community's bond with the school. So tonight, the Francis Howell North community wants to thank you, Coach Bevel, for the countless sacrifices you've made over the years for the team and the community. Your positive impact will continue to shape the lives of students, coaches, and families for years to come. Number 11, Javion Braddock. Number 10, Carson Topping. And number 65, Hayden Machuda. The Lions are led by head coach Joe Day. The Knights are led by head coach Brett Bevel. Officials for tonight's contest: Jeffrey Calloway, Patrick Richards, Stephen Henry, Chad Dagley, and Aaron Reinhold. Howell North has won the toss and elected to defer to the second half. Zumwalt East will receive the
Senior night for the class of 2025. A make-or-break game full of make-or-break plays ahead. The Francis Howell North Knights at home. For Zumwalt East Lions, they come into this black and gold arena ready for a big game. An 0-8 team as the Francis Howell North Knights take on the 2-6 Lions. I'm Kane Manfull, joined here by Braeden Kettinger. It's also your senior night here up in the booth announcing with me. But we're sure to be in for a good game. So what are some key players here on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, Kane, looking on the north side, it's a similar answer to, as always, Champ Pauly in that backfield. He's a monster. He's going to rack up a ton of yards and break a ton of tackles. Starting quarterback, it's sort of a recent change. Joey Ingracia took over for Champ a couple weeks ago. Yeah, fourth game. It's a similar style attack. You're going to see a little of that slot T from the old days of the North offense, but then you're going to see a little bit of that spread that they've worked in later. So similar attack. Hopefully they can, build on what they have been the past few weeks. They've looked stronger as the season has gone on, despite the losses have sort of racked up a little bit, but they have looked strong as of late. And then as we flip to the east side of things, the backfield is the highlight of that offense. Carson Topper, Carter Mitchell, they're the highlights. They are very strong. It looks to be a great game. Two battles, two great offenses. I'm really excited.
Yeah, Zumwalt East lost the toss. North deferred to the second half. Kickoff's underway, and the Lions will get the ball here around the 15-yard line. So should be in for a great one today.
Yeah.
Lions will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20.
So the Lions take over at the 20-yard line. Here comes Carson Topping. All right, see a very spread out offense here. 3 wide to start the game. Pass heavy, but also can implement that run. Topping with over 1,300 yards coming into this final game of the season. There's a pitch to the left side, cuts it back, and gets a nice gain of 3-4 yards. Good tackling there by the Knights defense.
Yeah, Kane, this kickoff kind of snuck up on us, and I didn't even get to highlight the fact this is Brett Bevel's final game at home for the North Knights as head coach. There was a bit of a ceremony along with senior night, a bit of a teary one for a lot of people here. He's been at North for a very long time. He will stay in his principal duties, but he will no longer be the head coach, and it's definitely a shift in philosophy. Yeah. It's definitely an end of an era, right? This new school kind of ushers in a lot of new things, and Brett Bevel will not be part of it. But throughout the team, his coaching will forever stay with what they built here.
Yeah, if you take a look at Bevel's overall record, you may think, oh, he's not a great coach. But ask any guy on that team wearing the black and gold stripes on his helmet tonight, I guarantee you, they say Brett Bevel was the guy that they looked up to, the guy that they respected throughout their entire career. He's just built such an energy and such an environment in the locker room, on the sideline, on the field, in the classroom, wherever you see Bevel, he gives his players especially that comfort. So seeing him leave is definitely sad, but the players will be playing extra hard tonight. There's a little error on the pitch there. Big hit delayed. But yeah, Bevel tonight, they'll be playing for him. They'll be playing for their seniors. They'll be playing for themselves. So Knight's got a little fire under him, especially with that 0-8 record. He never want to go out with a defeated 0-9 season heading into the playoffs. So
yeah, Kane. I mean, I think legacy is kind of a high word to use for an end of the regular season game, but I think this is just about what that is. You know, it's a game that a lot of these guys playing for 4 years on this football team, they're going to remember this forever, and you want to send out your legendary head coach with his final win at home.
Exactly. And this is going to force a 3rd and 5, third and 2.
Brings up 3rd and 2 from the 43-yard line.
All right, he forced a 3rd and 2. This nice defense looking to hold him at the 45-yard line. I could expect a run here from Topping. He'll keep it himself up the right side on the hash marks. Big break. Almost found some green grass, but still picked up a nice gain of 15, 20 yards.
All right,
those
Tony
are those
Romo.
legs. Those are the legs that he has, and he's going to continue to use them. The leading rusher on the team, 52 carries through 8 games, 523 yards, and 5 rushing touchdowns. Just a phenomenal season, despite, you know, I mean, he's a quarterback. Like, he can't take hits like that, but you'll see him. He's one of the tallest guys on that team. That's not an average quarterback play.
I'm sure.
But, you know, he's standing at a solid 6'4" down there. Hit Joey Ingrassi on the night side of the ball. Not quite 6'4". It's a little tougher to see over that O-line. You see Topping with basically a bird's eye view for this whole field. It's like when you have a great passer, such as, you know, he kind of reminds me as like a tall center who can pass. You can
Oh, okay.
maybe wanted to see what the formation was going to be. So it looks like it's going to be a pass, but, you know, I personally haven't played a whole lot of real football, but in Madden, if I ever get iced like that on it, and they see my formation, I'm switching it. You know, if I'm playing head to head, and they see what I'm lining up in, I'm switching that thing.
I don't want to give up any info in the first quarter, Kane. You know, I got to keep them on their toes, especially this early. So, you know, if I'm Brett Bevel on that sideline, switch formation.
Keep them. Yeah, the more that you can see is defense, especially in the first quarter, the more you can make them change and adjust. You know, their formations, the way they're running, which side of the field they like to go to. The more you can learn, because film only does so much. You know, it changes a lot week to week. So seeing as much as you can here in the first quarter, definitely something that, you know, offensive, defensive coordinators.
What happened there?
Yeah, Knights took a timeout and still had the false start. So first down, automatic first down for the Lions.
That's a frustrating one on that black and gold sideline.
Yeah. Now, you have such a great defensive stand. 2 tackles for losses in a row at the sack by Pauly, and then wrapped up by multiple defenders on the run by Mitchell. They just give him another free first down.
You then kind of move them a little closer to that red zone.
Speed option out for about 5 yards. Something we see a lot, like with mobile quarterbacks in today's era, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, we see a lot of that. Speed options. They work to one side. You have a running back a couple yards to your right. You're looking at a linebacker read. If they come and they come ready for the pitch, you take off with it as a running back. And obviously, Topping has that ability.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they come for you, just pitch it outside. You might take a little hit, but a guy of his stature, I'm sure he can take. I'm sure he has taken. I'm sure he will continue to take hits pretty well, even in end of the senior season.
I think that can be said with a lot of things in football, right? I feel like trends sort of start in college football and they trickle into the pro game, and we've definitely seen that with the quarterback play style. As mobile quarterbacks are starting to become more and more frequent.
Phenomenal tackle there by Christian Bosley. Nowhere to go on the wide receiver flat.
That brings up 3rd down.
3rd and 5. Not unmanageable, but definitely not ideal.
Yeah, you go into every drive wanting to get 7 here, but you're inching closer to field goal range if you're the kicker. Hopefully you can get at least 3 here.
Yeah, Luke Trankler has a leg on him. And they might need to use him here. Great tackling by that North defense to stay in there.
That
Tristan Bosley.
That forces a tough field goal for the high school game. Not these guys aren't grown men yet, right? They're still developing. They're not going to be able to hit from 45 yards consistently. Maybe you didn't like how they kind of cruised down the field if you're North, but this was sort of a win. You had that bend, don't break mentality towards the end of that drive, and now you're forcing.
They'll stay on the field.
Okay.
The second 4th down attempt anyway. Not that they had a snap last time, but they'll show it again. And Topping takes off down to the 5, breaks a tackle. See if they give him the spot. I think he was short. Topping ruled down with just inches to go towards the black and gold end zone.
Kane, that's just a killer if you're on that night sideline. You worked and you worked. You forced a 3rd down stop. And
nice back-to-back tackles by the Bosley brothers. And they give it the 4th and 4, and Topping takes 25 off. So,
Kane, they fooled me. I thought they were going to go for the kick there.
Yeah. It seemed like the smart play. I could imagine another quarterback keeper as the biggest guy on the field. And there it goes. Topping runs it in. Touchdown. Zumwalt East. The Lions strike first. Quick 6 on the opening drive.
Kane, I'd call you Tony Romo for calling out their play, but I think everybody in the stadium knew that was going to be a quarterback keeper.
Yeah.
Great run.
That'll be his 6th rushing touchdown on the season to complement phenomenal passing. They didn't see much of it there, but Topping with 12 passing touchdowns and now just adds a 6th rushing. 18 touchdowns. That is phenomenal.
Through 8 games, it's hard to get any better production from a high school quarterback.
Absolutely. The PAT there from Trankler is good.
Kane, most of these home games, at least that you and I have been commentating, the pattern I've sort of noticed is that the Knights have chose to receive the ball in the first half, try to get out to an early lead, but they did decide to defer here, which is definitely a different pattern. They now let the other team come out front early, and I'm curious to see how that works out for them, right? A lot of the time we'll see them go out 7-0, and then it's not a score for a really long time. Hopefully they can break the pattern here as they're trying to break the pattern of the losing streak. I like the different choice.
I was going to say, I think, you've looking at obviously records never tell the story. Okay, that's why.
I totally agree.
That's why you can't look at just one piece of information and then know everything about it. You got to take multiple sources. So just looking at an 0-8 record really doesn't tell the Knights story. But I could go on and on about that. How they've looked good, how they've looked bad, how they've looked promising, how they've looked. How they've looked disappointing, and regardless, I think it's good to get a little change in there.
Kane, just specifically, you and I watched that St. Charles game here at home in week 2, and that was a heartbreaker, right? You lost with 13 seconds left on the clock. That should have been a win, right? I think outside of one miracle play from the
Jordan
Pirates.
Rowe, 44 yards.
Wow.
Under 10 seconds. Take up the left sideline, spin move, round a defender all the way into the end zone.
In the moment, the only word I could come up with was wow, and I still have the same answer. Wow.
Plays in my head all the time. So the Knights coming out for their opening possession. So you mentioned pregame that they have a slot T offense. That's kind of what they ran last year.
Yeah.
And a spread offense. So obviously you've watched more as a senior. I'm still a freshman here. I haven't watched this team through the lens that you have. But what is what's the big differences for everybody who might not know kind of the split?
Yeah,
what are we seeing here?
If I'm going to break it down here, this is more of this spread offense that we've been talking about. This is the new offense. You have a wide receiver out wide. It's more of the traditional, less traditional, but more what you see on TV every Saturday and Sunday. It's what teams run primarily nowadays. When we look at the slot T, it's almost the polar opposite, right? You have a ton of guys in the backfield. It's trying to trick the defense. You're trying to fool them on who has the ball back there. So when we're talking about the slot T, you'll probably see 3 guys behind the quarterback.
See the hash marks up the middle of your screen on top and bottom of the North logo. There will very rarely be a guy outside of that.
Yeah.
But here's the spread offense. You see some guys spaced out, one guy in the backfield. Champ Pauly taking the snap.
Yeah, and if I had to
go flying.
If I had to pinpoint somebody that has sort of ushered in this spread offense, it's certainly Champ Pauly. Really strong arm, really a talented quarterback. This year is his first year under center in his whole career, actually. And to be honest with you, for a first-year quarterback, in my opinion, he's looked pretty great. Maybe the stats don't tell you that. 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. But like Kane was just talking about, stats and records don't always tell the full story. A lot of those interceptions have been Hail Mary attempts at the end of the game. He's played great, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the Knights, one thing they struggle with is they cough up the ball a lot and have a lot of unforced errors, like back-to-back flags. That's just something you can't do. You got 2 yards on the first down carry by Sam Mahiran, and then you take it back-to-back false starts, back to a 2nd and 18. So not that you had a big breakaway on first down, but you had positive yardage, and now you're set back to 2nd and first down's in the next county by this point.
I mean, if I had to pinpoint the thing that's great with every really awesome offense is it's methodical drives. It's 5-6 yards each play, and if you don't, it's an incomplete pass.
Yep.
And that you don't see that a whole lot with the North offense here. You see, they might get 30 yards, and then it's going to be -5, -5, -5.
Yep.
And then they end up.
Champ Pauly keeper, some open room, stiff arms the defender, cuts it up the sideline, and gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
From my perspective, I can't quite see where he stepped out there, but really great run.
Yeah. Say Champ Pauly on the running side of things, that'll be his 101st attempt running on the season. Close up now, he just passed 400-yard mark and has 3 rushing touchdowns. So despite being a quarterback up until, again, 4 weeks ago, when Joey Gracia stepped up with the loss of one of the great running backs, Colin Conley, Joey Gracia switched over. There was some backfield changes, and Champ Pauly's now, and that'll be a big fall start. Everybody in the stadium kind of gasped when he took a leap there at the offensive line. But, some changes in the backfield. Pauly, not that he didn't run as a quarterback, with that slot T they still get to. But he's been a really good running back the past few weeks for him.
Yeah, Kane, the only question I have to ask is we have not seen a whole lot of Ingracia up to this point in the game. Nope. My question would be, does Senior Night have to do with something with that?
I hadn't thought about that, but that's not a bad call. I mean, like playoffs, maybe you switch it up, but could also just be Bevel's way of saying we think Champ is the right move. And there's a nice run by Pauly. Breaks a couple tackles. Keeps going. Somebody lit a fire under Pauly. He takes off 30 yards.
Is that Champ Pauly or is that Derrick Henry?
I was going to say, I thought I saw his number right, and then you said Derrick Henry. That was had me fooled there for a second. Great run there by Champ Pauly going sideline to sideline. And again, we see those wheels. He just crossed the 400. Now he's up to about 430. Great run.
Gosh, Kane, I can't say it enough. He is such a big player, and it's less even his height. He's a big guy.
He's strong,
and he's hard to take down. When he pumps his legs down, it's hard to bring him down.
Yeah, we just watched him dribble a defender here up at the other 30, and then just did it 4 more times and got over to the opposing 30. So great run there by Pauly. Champ takes a snap, drops back, no time to throw. And he'll lose about half the yardage he just gained. But there was no time for anything to even
There's got to have
appear.
been a miscue on the offensive line there. Somebody didn't pick up their assignment, and it's quite a killer, right?
I wondered if it was like a halfback screen, but there was no halfback screening.
Nope, they were in empty there.
Nope, they just didn't. They didn't cover
Which
up.
I don't know
D-line.
how many times I've seen the North offense in empty, but that was one of them.
Yeah, the only time I really see that is when you have a quarterback you don't like.
Yeah.
But everyone on the team likes Paulie, so. Say if
I mean,
Paulie-
I would hope that they would like him, right, Kane? I mean,
starting quarterback.
he just flipped the field for him.
Yeah.
As a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
It's a penalty there.
But yeah, building on what we were saying right before, he provides a different feel to the offense, and it's less a negative on Ingrassi and more a positive on Champ. Champ provides this double threat that maybe Joey doesn't provide. Joey isn't the runner quite that Champ is, and it keeps the defense on their toes a little bit.
And there's a run. Brought down short gain, Seamus McRaven. Maybe gets 2.
4 yards on the carry. Brings up 2nd and 6 from the 19-yard line.
There's Paulie. Drops back to throw. No time. Still gets it out. McRaven with the catch. And McRaven with 6. It's a nice second down play.
Not
Pushes
to
it
already
up.
talk about after this third down, but you're certainly in Carson Howard's range. Let's hope you can capitalize here and at least get on the board. This has been a pretty successful drive for the North Knights here.
Certainly. A lot of line changes here. McRaven subbed off. Bosley on.
In recent weeks, we've seen McRaven a lot more. He's doing the pacer test on the sideline there. He couldn't decide if he wanted to be in the play or out of the play.
Paulie, lone man in the backfield. Bosley motions across. Fake jet sweep. Paulie, keeper, right up the middle. Nobody within 10 yards. Champ Paulie put the team on his back, ran down that field using his legs.
It's a Paulie party in the end zone. We haven't seen that
Gets
too
the
much
6.
this season. But it's a fun time when Champ Paulie gets into the end zone.
Paulie's 4th rushing touchdown on the year, despite being a quarterback having 1 passing. This is his 4th rushing. You know, you see sometimes some senior night performances that are magical. Right now for Champ Paulie, it's looking good. You know, you're at the 30, you break off a nice 35, 40-yard run to get the drive going, light the fire under everybody, and right there we just saw a 20-yard third down run.
Kane, they talk about the main character moments. That was Champ's main character moment.
There you go. Hey, senior night, it's the way to do it under the lights.
Yeah.
Snap back, Carson Howard on the PAT, and drills it. Beautiful kick there from Howard. So tied up 7-7. We haven't seen that very often with the Knights where they have a promising first drive like that with, like, the intensity that would, like, everybody in the stadium felt that. I mean, the big run by
Kane,
Paulie.
I'm up in the booth, and I'm energized. I'm excited. That was a fun drive.
Yeah, the Knights have not seen that as often. It's like they might get a touchdown.
You saw a few plays where it was the Knights of old where, it's a false start. It's an unforced error. It was a miscue on the offensive line where Champ falls right through.
It's almost like you said, sometimes they get 2 yards, they get backed up 5, and then they'll break off a 30. And what did Champ just do? It's like a 40-yard run up the left side, cut over to the right, and then punches
Gosh,
it
they
in.
started at the 25. They went 75 yards. I wonder how many of those yards were Champ's.
Uncharted territory there. McRaven might have had maybe a dozen, but Paulie really did. He played well right there.
Get him some water, man.
Maybe an oxygen tank with all the run he was doing. McRaven keeps doing. He did the pacer test again. Ran on, ran back off. I don't know what's going on with him. Can't figure out the subbing rotations, I guess. So Ingrassi, you see him over there with the pink socks on the sideline. Hasn't gotten a rep yet.
Another senior I kind of want to highlight here. Jackson Pfeiffer returns to primary action. He'd been dealing with that ankle injury the past few weeks.
See him down there, number 2 at the bottom of your
He
screen.
was limited to only holding the past few weeks, and it was kind of a fun show to see. He'd slip off the boot and throw the cleat on and run out there and hold. You know, I don't think enough people give credit to the holder. It's a difficult job, but he does it great, and even through injury, he would never leave his team.
I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just holding the football, but it's the difference between points and no points a lot of the time. So
I totally agree.
Yeah, good to see him. He's despite not being, I guess a identified leader, he's always been a leader on the team. He's always been kind of that locker room captain.
3-year varsity guy, 4-year player. I think a perfect word for him is locker room guy. He keeps the energy. And he's just a good example for how the rest of the guys are, student athletes. And I don't think that's said enough, like they're great players on the football field, but they got to be great students in the classroom, Jackson Pfeiffer's a great example of that.
Exactly. 1 minute left here in this first quarter action. Howell North 7, Fort Zumwalt East 7. And
it's a lot of F's.
It's wrapped up there. Actually couldn't tell who had the ball. But yes, ball up around the 8-yard gain. With all the misdirections that both these teams run in the backfield, they fool me sometimes.
Gosh, Kane, if they were still running full slot T on this North offense, this would get real confusing.
Yeah, I say, watching it last year and calling a couple with you, it was always tough to know.
Imagine doing it game to game.
Yeah.
You only had to do it, one time?
Once, yeah. Homecoming game last year against Troy.
Correct.
Timberland?
Troy. Okay. We had our homecoming game against Troy back-to-back years.
Oh, yeah. Motions across. Drops back. Looking to throw. Takes off again. He has not put the ball in the air very much tonight. And he's brought down for the sack.
Party in the backfield.
Right there. Jacob Foster gets in there for the sack. His second on the season.
Big D lineman. Big tight end, too. He's still hyped.
See him, big fist bumps, everybody hitting him on the helmet.
Hey, I'd be hyped too,
shaking, man. Yeah, big.
That changes the drive also.
Yeah, you go from a 3rd and 1 to a.
Gosh, and anything to stop Topper's momentum, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Topping surely has enough. He's kind of gotten everything he wanted so far. His big runs. If he needs to throw the ball, he can. But Knights' defense getting in there for some sacks. They've only had 10 this year. They already got 3 tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 2 or 3. But it's been a great night for the Knights defense. So way to get into the backfield. Or it's a lot of times sacks boil down to secondary too. If got great coverage, quarterback can't find him.
Yeah.
Just got to start moving. But
plug up Topping's passing lanes.
Yeah. Block his vision even though he's way up there. Top of the beanstalk. And
interesting decision from the defensive coordinator. They're going to keep Champ in his typical defensive rotations, even though he's taking the majority of those quarterback
Topping takes
snaps.
off left side. He's got room. Can't bring him down, and that's a huge gain. Missed tackle there. Champ Pauly tried to grab a hold of the jersey. Finally tackled by Tristan Bosley up around the 37-yard line. But a phenomenal run from Topping. He's a tough guy to bring down.
Yeah, I think the main thing I can always point to with Champ Pauly is he's a great technical player there. Despite the fact that he didn't make the tackle, he was in great positioning. He tried to get the jersey to bring him down, and it just didn't quite work there. And I think that's a highlight across the whole team, right? Very technically sound team. They just a lot of unforced errors.
Yeah, agreed. Here's the 1st and 10. Out the backfield. Takes it. Mitchell. Cuts up the sideline, breaks a couple tackles, ball is loose. Falls on it, the Lions will retain possession. That was about a scary one there. Doug Deichmann was able to fall on that.
Yeah, Kane, we can't see Mitchell's face all the way up from up here, but I can imagine what it looked like there.
Yeah, Carter Mitchell, scary one, It's never fun to put it on the carpet, but especially when you had a great run by Topping.
Well, and you do not want to walk back to that sideline, have a great drive, and you put the ball on the carpet.
Yeah. So it was a good run there by Topping.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Good by Mitchell. Motions across.
We see a lot of motion from this Lions offense.
So a lot of guys going north to south, south to north. They're always moving, which is, how an offense should be built. They should keep people on their toes.
I think nowadays it's kind of an underutilized tool for an offense, but you also can kind of see what kind of defense the other teams in. When you motion a guy across, you can see is the corner going to follow him? Is it man coverage? Is it zone? I'm always a big fan of motioning a guy across, even if it's not a handoff or anything like that.
Trent Trankler. And there's another bobbled pass. So incomplete there, forces.
Toppin throwing it a little too hard, maybe.
Yeah. Got the gloves on it, couldn't haul it in, so forces a big 3rd down.
Yeah, it's a brisk 65 degrees. It's not too chilly yet, so those hands shouldn't be too cold to catch them. I'm not sure what's going on.
Bottom of your screen, Marquise Watson, one of the best receivers they have, lined up next to Tyler Kiermes. Both guys got lethal hands, see if they can get him the ball. And Toppin keeps it. Typically a 3rd down decision. And the ball comes out. Knights may fall on it. And they do. Knights get possession. A forced fumble.
Kane, isn't this a fun one?
A forced fumble there.
I don't think these Knights care about record. Why should we?
So the Knights are playing like they have nothing to lose, which honestly they really don't. They're playing for everything tonight. Sideline is jacked.
Hey,
and just killed every bit of. I mean, Topper had plenty of momentum. Probably still has some to go around. He could share it with his whole team. But
he can hand them out.
That fumble's going to make him think twice. That was a great follow there by the defense, and then stripping it from behind. You can't see him. A guy again 6'4", coming straight at you. He's gonna run you over. Come from behind where he can't see you. Get a nice punch in there. That's great defense there by the Knights.
Kane, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I do want to talk about the upcoming weeks for the Knights here. This is the final game of their regular season, and with how the GAC South operates, they will automatically get a playoff game in districts. It will be on the road, but maybe you're looking at it and it's an 8-loss team, no matter 8 or 9, depending on what they do tonight. But let's say you do win this game, that's something to carry into the next game. It's momentum, and sure, the other team's going to count them out. Hey, we're looking at a team that has at least 8 losses, but it's something, right?
Yeah, again, records don't tell the story.
Exactly. Momentum's everything, right?
Yep.
We see that in other sports, but I think it's the same story can be told with football.
We see a 4-wide set. Freshman Mikey Miller, Sammy Heron, Jackson Pfeiffer, and David Beeger on the south side of your screen. Will be a wide receiver screen. Jackson Pfeiffer with the hands. He goes backwards. A risky move, but he'll turn it upfield. Get back to the line of scrimmage.
High IQ play from Jackson Pfeiffer there. Either
high
get
risk,
blown
high
up,
reward.
yeah.
Well, Pfeiffer evaded it and got back to the line, which was about the best he could have done there.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it wasn't a great throw there.
He had 5 guys all with their eyes on him that play. Coaches will be happy with him after that one.
Yeah. Xander Love checks on. McRaven and Miller off. Third down and 9. 8 minutes left here in the half.
Kane, I'm kind of curious. We're seeing a lot of different.
There's a jet sweep there. Tristan Bosley outside. Cuts it up. He's got room if he can stay off of it, but that'll be a nice tackle to keep him from breaking sideline.
And that still
Bosley,
should be
great
enough
run
for the first down.
That'll move the chains for the Knights. Big explosive play.
Yeah, Kane, I'm curious. I'm still thinking back to the senior night ceremony. When they mentioned Mo Huff, the kicker, they mentioned his second position as wide receiver. He plays soccer along with football, so staying healthy is a big thing. But I'd be curious to see. Maybe you see him out wide a little bit tonight. Yeah. Senior night, let him have a little bit of fun.
There you go. Champ Polly, lone man, motions across McRaven, and there's a flag on the field. False start on the offense.
My worry is McRaven ran a little early.
Daniel. First and 15. Never a great way to start a possession, but start a drive. Knights are substituting a lot on and off the field. I do think as a defense, that's tough to account for. You really don't know what your matchups are going to be.
You're getting a well-rested guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage every time. It's hard,
Pauly,
right? You're
quarterback
tired.
Keeper, nowhere to go, but he makes something out of nothing. and he'll get back to the line. That's a flag coming in that could have been helmet-to-helmet contact.
Not to change the subject, but that was a Hail Mary throw from the ref. He was standing
He
on the
slung that thing.
opposite 35 and put that almost to the 40.
And never mind, that'll be on the offense. That'll be a holding call. They had 3 defenders on him, and somehow we snuck through him. But
that was quite a throw.
He was
you know, Kane, I've always wanted to throw one of those flags.
Oh, I wonder
I
how
bet
heavy
it would
they
be
are.
fun.
I really do wonder how heavy they are. You know, if
It's got a little bit of weight to it, but
Yeah.
probably nothing crazy. But
No.
still, that was a crazy throw. I've never seen something like it.
that was 20 yards. It's a little Mahomey.
Oh my
Sling
God!
that thing downfield. Do you have like Bazooka X Factor in Madden?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what the refs,
added
just
an extra
accomplished.
15 yards on your max.
Yeah, we go back-to-back
Hey,
penalties.
Madden 20 Superstar KO. Bazooka. I was a demon, man.
I'll take the referee. That'll be my first-round pick.
Oh yeah.
All
No,
right.
I'm taking Snoop Dogg.
All right, there's back-to-back penalties. Forces a 1st and 20. Play ball. 1st and 22. A long ways to go.
That's such a rough one for the Knights. That was a really great run from Champ Pauly. His vision has been impeccable tonight.
Yeah. It's been in slow motion for him.
Yeah. That's what the great players do.
Graven across. Pauly keeper. Takes off. He gets another chance. Breaks it upfield. There he goes. Senior night energy. Champ Pauly faced with a 1st and 22. Looking at a passport entry to the first down, but he'll break off 30.
Little Jordan Rowe-esque running here.
I don't know if we can glaze Jordan
kind of
Rowe
a
that
sore
hard.
topic around these north parts, but that's what I'm seeing.
And there's a flag on the field moving the Knights all the way back. 3 plays in a row. The Knights will be called back.
I just don't think the referees like my analysis. They call it back every time.
Well, so push the ball back. You had a 1st and 22. Champ Pauly breaks 2 phenomenal runs in a row, brought back by holding calls. You had a false start, then you had holding, then you have holding again. What's the move here?
Kane, I'm a little worried looking at Champ. He looks to be limping a little bit. Maybe he came
He's
down a
taking
little
some heart.
awkward.
Yeah,
He's
you
staying
saw-
out on the field.
You
so
saw
maybe
that
it's
it was
not too
it was a
bad.
cut there by the defender. A great tackle, to go for the legs, but that does hurt.
The worst
1st and
part
34.
The worst part is he gets injured there, and it's all for nothing.
Yeah. First,
We noticed early in the game, you and I, Kane, we didn't see a whole lot of Sam Mahurin, and we're starting to see him a little bit more later.
Out of the backfield, there he is on the catch. He is more of a receiving back. And there he goes for about a gain of 5.
Yeah, before the exit of Colin Conley, it kind of provided a duo between the two of them, or senior backs. Colin was the power back, and Sam would get some of those more third down looks, those receiving looks. And now that's kind of opened up for Mahurin a little bit. With Champ moving back there, it didn't really give him the opportunity to be the bell cow. But he has looked strong. He's gotten a few more of those power back reps that Colin would take up, and he stays on the field here, I believe.
Yeah, might not be running as much at this point. If they want to give him a couple plays off, I don't know how bad the injury was. And there goes McRaven. He took a direct snap. Raven takes off, uses those legs all the way up, brought down at the 15-yard line, and a flag falls at the spot of the tackle. Could have been a horse collar.
Seamus, show him the energy.
Seamus just took off. That was a nice wildcat. Looked like it was going to go right to Champ Pauly.
It was confusion, too. They were standing parallel in the backfield.
Yeah.
You had no clue who the ball was going to get.
McRaven jumps the snap, takes off, quarterback or halfback draw, takes it up the hash marks all the way into the red zone. Phenomenal running by McRaven. And great blocking. We haven't talked about that at all, but great blocking there to open that hole. Face mask call on the tackle. And we'll move it up, and it'll be 1st and goal, half the distance to the goal line.
Coach Bevel's getting a little techie in his final game.
Final home game. Always got the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. For a guy like him, though, this is the game he's going to remember as his final one. That's what's so important about these players are playing for everything on the line.
They're playing in this new stadium too. In the background, you might be able to see it a little bit. We got excavators and bulldozers knocking down the old Francis Howell North.
Yeah, it looks like they took a laser right through the middle of that building right there. It's just a big gap.
Meteor crash.
Yeah,
something they'd use for I don't know.
Straight out of a video game.
And there's the slot T offense. Not sure where the ball went. Outside, Mahiran down the right sideline. Nobody touches him. A waltz into the end zone. Sam Mahiran, haven't seen him much tonight, making an impact. 13-7, Knights on top.
Kane, with it being 6-0 here, this is one of the later parts, or not 6-0. There's 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Excuse me. This is one of the later times they've had a lead all season, if I'm not mistaken. In that St. Charles game, they had a late lead, but other than that, I can't really remember a time where they've had a lead
Except
this
for
late.
say for an opening quarter or opening possession. Sam Mahiran, his 5th on the season. He's been a great back, despite really only getting that spotlight, that spotlight role recently, second half of the year. But yeah, Sam Mahiran, great run there. Again, that slot T, you see ball go left, ball go right, ball go up the middle. Nope. Takes it right down the right sideline.
I don't want to speak too soon, but these Knights, this offense has a different feel than usual. It's definitely that it appears to bonk off one of the uprights.
Went off one of the uprights, a little doink action, and PAT there by Howard is missed. That's
to cheer up Carson a little bit here. I feel like only the great kickers doink off the uprights a little bit.
It's a tough feat.
If he wasn't a great kicker, that would have been wide right or wide left.
So, if your misses are going to be that close, I'd say I wouldn't take it to heart. Take it with a grain of salt. Put your head down and have a great kickoff here. Your coverage team should help you out. So for the Knights, 13-7 lead, clocking down 6 minutes left here in the half. It's been a great one, student section. I'm looking at a dinosaur, maybe like
Kane,
Stitch,
what are you dressed up as?
Chicken. I'm dressed up as
Kane Manfull right now.
I'm dressed up as Braeden Kettinger.
All right,
I'm seeing a lot of great costumes down there. I'm seeing is that a Ryan Tannehill jersey?
No shit. Did you just pull out a?
I don't know. This guy front row.
Oh
He's
my
got a
gosh,
Dolphins
that
on.
might be a Ryan Tannehill jersey. Wow.
I don't know.
Good poll, Kane.
It was costume night for the Francetown North student section.
I did not
pink
believe
out
you
for the Lions, but
Kane,
it could be a Tyreek Hill. It's Tyreek Hill. I take that statement back.
That's so. Oh, that's so.
Oh,
lame.
it takes off. Green grass. Will they catch him? Great, phenomenal return by Javion Braddix. Uses those legs. The senior just turned on the Jets. The ball dropped at about the 30-yard line, fell right into his hands after the bounce. Mahiran was the first one down there, had a great, the hands team had a great block and just opened it up.
After the Knight touchdown, you needed a little bit of boost of momentum for the Lions, right? After
Braddix
the turnover, he's the spark plug. He's the Lou Williams.
Yeah. You just put the ball down 43 yards from the end zone to start your drive. That's the way you want to do it. Knight students rallying behind this defense. Hands the ball off. Mitchell up the middle. Tough one to bring down. Breaks a couple tackles, but good assist there. Wrapped up by a couple defenders.
Yeah, we're
7-yard rush forces a 2nd and 3.
We're seeing Champ Pauly out on defense. I think the injury he sustained in that drive, I think he shook it off a little bit. I think he's doing all right.
I think even if it was mildly serious, it's senior night. It's his final game. I think I'd play it out too. And there's a pitch. Mitchell up the right sideline gets the first down and more. Big hit. Big hit there from Bosley to knock him out, but
I think it was right in time where that's not going to be called a late hit.
No, he was right up the sideline. He was going out of bounds anyway, but you gotta make sure that they know. What was that? Welcome to the Swamp on Netflix, where it was I didn't want the ball, I wanted him.
Yeah.
You can go for the ball in the air, let him go out of bounds, but no, just knock him over.
If I was a defensive back, I'd play the same way.
Strike the fear into him, play one. Well,
you'll get the ball eventually.
Quarterback keeper Topping. Great block there. Cuts it up the left sideline. Will they get him down inside the 10? Ball will be spotted on the 8-yard line. Great run from Topping. His vision is just so impressive as a quarterback. He already has the height for it. He has the speed, but seeing the field is a complete. You're not born you can't learn that, but you're not born with it. It's just like a mixture of the cards, the cards are laid down and they're laid in the right order, and he just happened to find he has the vision. It's just
I think with the biggest thing in sports and at all levels, right? The play style doesn't necessarily change when you go from JV to varsity or C team to JV or whatever it may be. The speed in which everyone plays is what changes.
I think
great
it's true in every
players are the
sport.
ones can slow it down. That's what I'm saying. In any sport, the speed is what changes, and the great players can adapt to that, and they can slow it down. That's what the great players do.
Yeah, seeing plays in slow motion and watching them unfold is really
well, because the biggest thing is those great players have seen this situation before, and they know what to do. I think that's the exact same situation with Topping here. Senior. He's played football for 4 years now. He's seen this situation before. He knows exactly what he needs to do.
Here they line up. Ball on the 4. Here they go. I'm expecting a quarterback keeper, and so is just about everybody else. And there it is, up the left side. Touchdown, Zumwalt East. Took a lick there as he went into the end zone. Little somersault action. But that'll tie the game at 13. PAT to put him on top. Great drive. Great drive. Obviously, Topping took most of the pressure, took most of the heat, but he surely can take it.
In the pregame,
how much defense is thrown at him, he always has the offense to counter it.
In the pregame, I highlighted both of those players, not knowing that Champ was going to be taking most of those quarterback snaps, but it stays true, right? Those Topping and Pauly, those are still the players to watch on both sides, and it's been a battle of two great quarterbacks thus far.
Absolutely. 4 minutes left. Lions take a 1-point advantage. Knights to receive the kick.
How will they respond?
After half, the Knights will receive. They did defer to the second, so they'll get their chance to talk it over, and then they'll come out early. So,
yeah, it's like I mentioned earlier. It's something we haven't seen from the Knights thus far. I feel like their main choice has usually been to receive in the first half, and then they'll try to get out early and respond to what they have to do. But I think they want to make some changes here. Not to be negative, but whatever they have been doing hasn't been working too well. I like to see change, right?
I'll say a lot of times right now is when I'd ask you, like, well, what do the Knights need to do in this possession because, it hasn't been working? Because they've had some rough first halves.
Keep going.
Right now, they're looking good. They're 2 for 2 on drives. It's whatever they're doing is working. I don't know if it's the defensive errors or if it's the offensive opportunity, but
I have a similar answer to what I usually give you, Kane. It's how they need to respond. But in this situation, it's not a dire need, right?
That's a short kick, an onside opportunity. Hit hard. That is a tough ball to keep your hands on.
Yeah, it's a legal play, but it
a
doesn't feel
dirty.
like it.
Yeah, they just toss it up in the air. Perfectly kicked ball. Beautiful. By Aiden McKay there. He is a freshman as a kicker.
Glad to see he got up real fast and wasn't slow to get up
Laid
there.
a hard hit on him. First and 10. Ball starts on the 37. I don't even hate that. In high school, you get a lot of big returns. I think if you do that every time, the odds that you get the ball back are honestly better than...
Yeah, morally, I hate it, but as a football coach, I'd do it every time.
Yeah. Or implement some style of that. Of that kickoff.
Short kicks, yeah. Well, because they're only about 10 yards ahead of where it would be if you just kicked it through the end zone.
Yeah. And wrapped up. Didn't even get a look there. We've seen that a couple times where the ball is snapped and there's defenders basically following the ball to the quarterback. So handoff there, nowhere to go for Sam Mahiran.
Yeah, a lot of the times that ends up just being a slow snap from the center. He doesn't get up fast enough, and it's just a D tackle right in the quarterback's face.
3.5 minutes to go. 3.5 minutes to go. David Beeger down south. Let's see if they look to target him with nobody in the backfield. Expecting a motion across. Motion across there. Tristan Bosley. Quarterback keeper. Champ Pauly cuts it up the middle. Gets a couple yards ahead of where he would be had they not taken that first down loss. Forces about a 3rd and 7, it appears.
Kane, you know, we already made a Madden reference, and maybe we should probably limit the Madden references. But if I had to compare David Beeger in anything, he has the Double Me X Factor activated at the bottom of your screen, and you need to capitalize on it. If he's in single coverage, you should toss it up to him.
He's a tall dude, athletic. I've played basketball against him. They say jump shot. Nobody really jumps. He jumps. I don't know how he does it. He gets a 1.5 feet off the ground and still sinks a 3-ball. So he has that. He's got the height to start with, and he's
in single coverage yet again.
Well, they haven't tried him yet, so. Well, it looked like the ball was intended to go to him, but no time, and Champ Poly is pressured and knocked down.
We will see Mo Huff for the first time tonight.
Forcing a 4th and 5. Yeah, Mo Huff checks onto the field. Great punter. He's been good all season.
Yeah, you know, like he's new to football this year, and at the beginning of the season, you definitely saw that, right? It was rookie struggles, but as the season has continued, he's just gotten stronger and stronger. He actually leads our conference in punt yards, which can be seen in 2 different ways. It's been great performances from him, but as a team, maybe you don't want to see him that much. But
yeah,
you
would like to end some muffed snap, but they didn't try real hard to get into the backfield for him. Great punt, misses it. They will get him down on the 2-yard line. Mo Huff.
Wow, Kane.
A phenomenal kick. Couldn't get his hands on it. We just saw Javion Braddix with a great return, but there couldn't get his hands on the punt. Thought maybe I'll sneak it into the end zone, but the coverage, the hands team gets down there, stops the ball on the 1-yard line. They're 199 yards to go.
Wow.
I'm a big Iowa guy. I was watching Torrey Taylor. He's now for the Bears. That is a Torrey Taylor caliber punt right there. And great hands.
I'll one-up you. That was a Michael Dixon level punt.
Nope, Torrey Taylor.
Heck yeah,
you
man.
just stepped down a level. Torrey Taylor is
Michael Dixon.
Yep. 27-year-old in college.
Best punter in the NFL.
We'll agree to disagree on that topic.
I do have to be careful. Kane is a very big Iowa guy.
Could be up at the Northwestern game tomorrow. We're staying home. And here we go. Topping keeps it and almost loses it. And the ball came close, but keep him inside their own 5-yard line.
Speaking of the Bears, we talked about the Bears. Peanut Tillman punch. Get the ball out a little bit. As DBs, I feel like everybody should practice that.
Brings up 2nd and 7 from the Lions 4-yard line.
Here we go. Ticking under 2 minutes. Under 2 minutes now. No 2-minute warning. College has it. And that's a false start.
NFL also has 2-minute warning. It's just the high school level.
College has it now, and
late to the
NFL
party.
Always has. But. And if they weren't already backed up far enough, half the distance to the goal line, forces a 2nd and 9. Ball back on the 1.5.
Is it even 1.5?
Should be. Yeah.
Looks to be, yeah.
I could imagine a quarterback keeper once again. And they pitch it out of the backfield. Almost had him for the safety. Cuts it up. Mitchell.
That was a
great blocking. Phenomenal blocking there by Marquise Watson. Haven't seen him in the pass game much, but they really haven't thrown it a whole lot. But Marquise Watson, great block there on Mikey Miller to give Mitchell a few extra yards.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the whole game, the Lions have been full of risk, but that was probably the biggest one of the game. A pitch in the end zone is not something you see too often. But
it takes a lot of time to develop, and if that pitch isn't perfect or –
well, yeah, I was just going to say, if that misses his hands, it's a touchdown.
From a running back perspective, you're looking to catch that ball and go. I mean, you have no time to sit back and think. So sometimes if you start going before you catch it, that's going to be a fumble, safety. You know, you're in trouble there.
Right before that play, I was kind of in the dumps for the Lions. I was just going to mention you need some room for the punt, but that totally flips the outlook of this drive so far.
Timeout taken.
Now, saying that, they still need to go 87, 88 yards.
Yep, 88 yards to go here in under a minute.
Hey, I'm good at math. Look at me.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but
okay.
58 seconds to go 88 yards. See if they can get it done.
From a coordinator perspective, both on the defense and the offense, I'm sure the Knights are having a lot more fun. When you're down by multiple possessions early, it's hard to have fun throughout the game, but I can see the defensive coordinator down there talking with a lot of his players. He's having a ton of fun.
Yeah, both sides of the ball look good for the Knights. Both sides of the ball look good for the Lions. So it's been a good half of football. You know, one of the most exciting we've really seen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Up until this point.
At the end of the day, I'm a commentator, but I'm a North student also. You know, this has been energizing. It's really fun. And throughout this whole season, it's been a tough one to watch as
Topping
a fan.
drops, slings it out of the backfield.
But the student section didn't miss a beat tonight.
Great tackle by Bosley. Tyler Keithermiss, that's his third reception on the night. We've kind of seen him a couple times on blocking and a jet sweep. But there's a nice catch there for him. Clock ticking 40 seconds. Still 81 yards to go. Not sure they're going to try and hurry up for this. Maybe a Hail Mary attempt. Not here, but Topping keeps it himself. I think Topping running the ball is just about as effective and about as lethal as a Hail Mary.
Hail Marys in high school are not very high conversion rate. Let's keep it on the ground with our very explosive quarterback.
There's another timeout.
I think the likelihood that he breaks off a 60-yard run is pretty high.
Not incredibly high, but higher than a Hail Mary, I would say.
I'd say compared to most quarterbacks, it's pretty high. On the scale, it's pretty dang high.
Yeah, 24 seconds, one timeout, 69 yards to get downfield.
Nice.
We could expect maybe an out route action here if they're going to throw it. Otherwise, keep it on the ground with Topping, and maybe you can get 2 more rushes in, or a rush, a spike, and then one final play.
Yeah,
send it towards the end zone.
You're always the one to hop on it, but Lat City could be making an appearance in the first half.
An incomplete pass. Marquise Watson couldn't get his hands on that one. It was not a great throw there from Topping. Try to get it out quick. Takes off 3 seconds. 2nd and 10. I don't hate it though. You know, you complete that wide receiver screen. Sometimes those turn into big plays. You know, all the action's up on the north side.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of a half, tackles are tough to make. I'm a big fan of forcing the other team to do their job. You know,
see some deep coverage here. Mitchell knocked down. Didn't even see him. Couldn't hold their blocks up on the O-line. Seemed like Sergio Alvarez released a little too early and able to knock him down there for just a 1-yard gain. 5 seconds will take us to halftime. That'll take us into the half. So heading into halftime, for Zumwalt East, 14-point to 13-point lead for Frankstown North. Both offenses have looked explosive. So have the defenses. There's been a lot of big plays on all sides of the ball. Definitely one of the best-looking games for Francis Howell North. East has played pretty good all season. They've scored a lot. Their defense has struggled, but the defense has actually looked pretty good tonight. So heading into this halftime, what do both teams need to talk about in the locker room and kind of clean up?
Yeah, I mean, Kane, technically speaking, we're in the same place that we usually are with the North Knights. You're down at halftime, but this is a very different feeling. You are only down by 1 point, not even one possession. And you looked really great on offense. That was probably the best-looking offense we've seen all season. We were in that crazy game with St. Charles in week 2, and I still think the offense has looked better this week than it did back then. Champ Pauly has looked unstoppable rushing the ball. Prior to that, maybe injury, I'm not sure what that was.
He's looked great.
He looked like prime Adrian Peterson. He just would find a hole every time he'd run the ball.
Bounce back
so
quick.
Very positive notes I have for Frankstown North as compared to what we've been seeing in prior weeks, but also not necessarily negative with the Lions. I mean, there's been a few unforced errors that you're not too happy about. If you clean those up, it's going to be a great football
Fumble
game.
there from Topping in the second quarter.
I can't imagine, Kane, this game's going to be separated by more than one possession. I feel like this game's going to come right down to the wire.
You know, that's the way you want to see it. Again, senior night here at Francis Howell North. They always save it till the last game of the season. Bevel's last game. So there's just a lot happening.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing for something. The seniors are playing for themselves, also for coach. You know, even the freshmen that are getting worked in, there's a few of them on the roster with all the losses for North. High stakes for both sides. You know, going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Both losing programs. 0-8 and 2-6.
You don't want to carry a loss into the playoffs.
No,
you're 0-8. Maybe you're not going to be a favorite heading into the playoffs if you're the Knights. But you're trying to win tonight. 1-8 is a lot better than 0-9 heading into the playoffs.
Yeah. So again, I think you already touched on it enough, Braeden. But Topping has just looked great this first half. So is Champ. Both quarterbacks' running abilities have looked great. The secondary, I don't know if it's the secondary or if it's the receivers, but going downfield has not really been an option for either program up until this point. But I think the second half, they got a lot of stuff to talk about in the locker room. Second half might see some more aerial attack, might be a little short, some deep, neither team really likes that deep downfield attack.
No.
But you got Marquise Watson, you got Peyton Oxford. Haven't seen either of them really get worked in. We saw a little bit of Marquise.
You saw him in the rushing game a little bit.
Yeah, but we haven't seen a whole lot downfield. So
if I had to give a comparison to it, a couple weeks ago in the NFL, we saw Commanders versus Ravens. This feels like a Commanders versus Ravens game. Two high-powered offenses.
Yeah. Okay, well, great first half of ball. It was just about as good as we were expecting. We'll be back with you a few minutes from kickoff in this second half.
Next up for your halftime entertainment, please welcome to the field the Francis Howell North Cheer Squad.
Their generosity is the driving force behind tonight's musical celebration. Let's give a round of applause to Varvel Orthodontics for being a valued sponsor of our very own Francis Howell North Night Pride Marching Band. The Night Pride Marching Band performance is also brought to you by Dane Huxell of State Farm. As a future FHN band parent, Dane wants to help protect your family. Dane offers competitive insurance options for your auto, home, and life insurance needs. Join us in thanking Dane Huxell for his generous support of our Night Pride Marching Band. Please visit the Night Pride website at FHNbands.com to learn more about the band and our sponsors.
Hey,
Ladies and gentlemen, please
just
welcome to
noticed
the field
something.
your
Why is camera
2024 Night
twitching?
Pride Marching Band. The band is under the field command of Drum Major Lena Ford. Soloists this year include Brianna Brinkman, Jaden Wells, Grace Gagan, Aiden Diger, and Travis Foster. We hope you enjoy for one final performance, The Pursuit of Sunshine.
It's not amazing, run, spot, run.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Francis Howell North Band is hosting a mattress fundraiser on Sunday, October 27th. All sizes are available. There will be over 25 styles on display. All mattresses are brand new with a full factory warranty. Delivery is available, and all forms of payment are accepted, and financing is available. If you're planning on buying a mattress, please come out and support the FHN Band on Sunday, October 27th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Additional details and a coupon are on the band's website at FHNbands.com. That's FHNbands.com.
for you here on Game Time. At Francis Howell North, we respect core values of the Shield: sportsmanship, honesty, integrity, excellence, leadership, and determination. We ask that all students, staff, parents, and community members involved in our programs embody these core values that are emphasized within our programs. Help us defend our Shield as our student athletes compete in tonight's contest.
And our second half is about to be underway. The Knights won the coin toss, elected to defer to the second. An interesting decision. Haven't seen it much this year. The Knights coming off a good first half, still down to the Fort Zumwalt East Lions, 14-13. About a minute until we get our action back. The story of the game so far has been the quarterbacks. You see Carson Topping and Champ Pauley. They've both been great running the ball, especially the passing. It's not that the passing's been bad. It's that the passing has not been as, I guess, they haven't needed to involve the passing game.
Yeah, I was just going to say
it's not that it's been bad, but they haven't needed it. The quarterbacks have just been putting the ball on the ground so efficiently and so effectively that it hasn't been needed.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to put it. It's not that the passing game hasn't been strong. It's just we haven't seen it straight up. And for the most part, it just hasn't been deep throws. And if they do throw, it's a short little screen play. We saw a few from the Knights. We saw primarily the one to Jackson Pfeiffer, where he had to run all the way across the field just to get back to the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, that may be a good reason why they have sort of leaned away from the passing game, as there hasn't been a whole lot of success when you have tried.
They've been playing for the completions, not for the yardage.
Well, and you feed the hot hand, right? If you're running the ball well, keep running the ball. Straight up.
Yeah, on the Zumwalt East side of things, Topping there's another squib kick. We talked about that first half, that those short kicks are going to be the key, and it was almost picked up by East, but North will keep possession on that kickoff. We talked about that first half. They tried that late in the second quarter. But yeah, touchdowns on the East side of things. Quarterback Carson Topping with 2 rushing touchdowns, both inside his own 5-yard line. On the north side of things, we have Champ Pauley with a 23-yard run, Sam Mahiron with a 4-yard run. So again, 4 rushing touchdowns. That'd be the total box score so far. It looks good.
Yeah, I mean, if there was any reward for style points with your touchdowns, I think North would win that. Both Champ and and Sam, they both were kind of able to waltz into the end zone. Yeah, it's been strong. It's been something we haven't really seen from this offense as of late. The switch back to Champ has been one that has been rewarding so far.
Champ on the keeper, breaks the tackle, out. Almost gets through a second, dives for some extra yardage. A nice 6-yard pickup by Pauley.
Yeah, we've been talking about it all night, but his vision has been what has really set him apart all night. I feel like he evades the first tackle almost every time he rushes the ball.
He's got that first one free X Factor, another Madden reference.
Oh, my gosh.
I love playing Saquon Barkley 2020 Madden. Yeah. And his first one free, just get around him every time. That's what it's kind of the vibe Champ's given tonight. Bosley down, jet sweep to the short side, keeps it himself, and Pauley is thrown down and stared down by DJ Rivera, a guy that I watched a lot of film on, a guy that I looked at a lot of stat sheets, lots of stories on him. He's a big threat there, coming in as a linebacker. He's not quite the biggest guy, but he is a senior, and he's a safety with leading the team. That's his 5th sack on the season as a safety.
Here, Kane, I have my pro comp. He reminds me a lot of Kyle Hamilton. Wears the same number 14. Kind of everywhere, all over the field. He's a safety, but I wouldn't really give him a position. He produces everywhere. Maybe a little bit of, retro Jamal Adams a little bit with the blitzing ability. Really great player.
Absolutely. Got a forced fumble as well, and flags fly. Didn't talk much about the weather today, but that's because it wasn't much to talk about. You know, it's pretty calm here in St. Charles. There's some light breezes coming here from the north, but nothing that really affects the kicking and nothing that really affects, the players, the students, or anything.
When I was arriving today for the game, it looked a little gloomy. I was a little worried about the potential of rain, but just nothing fell. Thank gosh.
Flew back in from Florida this morning, and I went from sunny blue skies, and I got home, and it was gray clouds and no sun in sight.
Welcome back, Kane. Welcome back.
Just love it. But, the weather's been nice. The weather was just about the same temperature-wise as it was back home. So, well, I don't know. I'd like it to be my home, I guess. Not really in Florida, but.
No, you have to come back and stream football games with me, Kane.
Exactly. So our last one together for the high school season.
Hey, don't make me emo.
Well, Knights pull out a win here. I think everybody's going to be a little emotional on their sideline. Zumwalt pulls out a win.
You know what?
I that season 3-6.
I don't want to jinx us, but if they were to win tonight, it would be the first win
Deep
for
throw.
me commentating.
And he just about had a perfect toss.
I have never commentated a Knights win before. So
that is, and you're a senior.
Yeah, well, okay, to be fair to them, I only started my commentating career my junior year. But yeah, I only commentated one game last year. So you and I are both kind of rookies this year.
Yep. Yeah, there was one to Nehemiah Carter, just about a breadbasket throw into the defensive hands. Just a little too long. I couldn't tell if that one was intended for Tristan Bosley or David Beeger, but both were running down the right side.
I like the idea.
Yeah. Just send it deep. See what happens.
It's third down. You got to get something going, right?
Mo Huff with a punt. Had a great one earlier down on the 1 yard line. This one with some topspin. Muffed the kick. Takes it up the middle. Breaks a couple tackles. Gets some room. Does a little stutter step and will inevitably be wrapped down from the back. I think if he would have taken off, it might have been a different story. But that's Javion Braddock's second major return of the night. He had a big kickoff and now a big punt return. I think it's only a matter of time. The clock is ticking until he gets his break.
I said the same thing after the first return. He's just a spark plug, right? You need, when you're looking for a momentum for your offense, he's the guy.
So he's gotten 2 possessions now off kicks that go from one side down inside the other side, 50, 40-yard line range. He had this first one down to the 37, this one up to the 43. Just a short field to capitalize on for the Lions. Motions crossed. Cuts back. He'll block. Hand off to Mitchell. Mitchell up the left side. Gets some decent blocks, and there's there's a flag. A little late
stutter
hit.
Step was a bad decision for Mitchell.
Yeah. Could have taken off, gotten a few extras. Let's see what the flag is.
Excuse me.
Refs talk it over.
I would always like to be in those conversations with the refs. Like, hey, what were you seeing? Oh, I'm not sure. That's what it feels like sometimes.
I don't know what all they really talk about because one guy saw it and obviously the other 2 didn't, or their flags would be out of their pockets
yeah,
too.
that's true.
But I'm not sure what the other opinions really help with.
Got to have a lot of trust in your partners, but I mean.
And that'll be holding, so move the ball back on the Lions. I'd said good block because it looked like it from here, but evidently it was a hold.
They always say that there's a holding somewhere on every offensive play.
I do find that to be true.
I do too, honestly. It's such a difficult thing that is blocking. It's hard to keep it textbook every time,
And the textbook's a little foggy too. It has to be inside the shoulder pads, but it's like at the same time, sometimes it's just jersey grabs. There's a pitch to Mitchell on the speed option. Wrapped up. Big tackle there. Christian Bosley pushes them back even farther. They had a 2nd and long. Pushes it down to now a 3rd down play. Sorry, holding, reset it, so it is going to be 2nd and 16. Ball on the 49. So great return there by Braddock. Yeah, I'd say you'd hate to waste it.
You're still in the opponent territory.
And nice evasion there. Slings it down, and it's almost like he was trying to play ping pong and send it back over the line. He just kind of whacked it with his hand. It wasn't a terrible throw by Keithermis, but just couldn't complete it. It looked like a decent throw from Topping. You had him on the cross route, And it wasn't like he had to extend it. It did hit him.
Yeah.
It hit Tyler, but it just never fell. So I'm
I
not
mentioned
sure.
it earlier in the first half, but I almost wonder, is he throwing it too hard? You know?
Yeah.
Just bobbled right off his hand. It's not too cold yet, guys.
No, it's still 60 and breezy. And keeper there by Topping to get 16 yards. Breaks it off. He's got a chance, and a flag will fly.
Refs want to show off a little bit. These flag throws have been quite
good.
quite a scene.
Didn't expect the next one to go sideline to sideline. Just try and hit a coach on the other side. Get 5 free points.
Sidearm action.
Yeah. Submarine.
Yeah.
Could mix it up a little bit. And there's another holding call. So move the ball back. Resets on another 3rd down.
Listen, man, Topping's a good player, but I'm not sure this one's going to be possible.
Well, we've seen it before. It could happen again. 3rd and ref's just going to waltz him down the field.
Actually, the Lions will have 4th down and 11 after the penalty is declined.
Penalties declined by the Knights.
Keep it 4th down.
Instead of a 3rd and 26.
Don't give them an extra down.
Yeah, instead of a 3rd and 26, you move it to a 4th and 11.
I can see both sides of the coin here. You don't want to hand them an extra down, but also 15 yards.
Here's
is a
Topping.
lot of...
Drops the throw. Has time. Over the middle. Oh, good contact
That's
there.
why you made that decision, is now you get the ball back.
Marquise Watson jumped up, a smaller receiver.
Good decision.
He jumps up for it. The senior cannot bring it down. Wasn't a bad throw, but great coverage there.
Great decision
by
from
the
Brad
Knights
Bevel
secondary.
there. It worked out.
Yeah, that's good play call.
In his final home game, he's made quite a few gutsy decisions, and they've kind of all fallen his way so far.
What's he got to lose, right?
Yeah.
0-8 season, just it's like that one Zootopia song, "Try Everything," Just
Wow, I was not expecting
I don't know where
that
I don't know
reference.
where that one kind of popped out, but it's like birds don't just fly; they fall down and get up. You know what I'm saying? Nobody learns without getting it wrong. So that's what
Took you all season to come up with that one.
Bevel's had 8 games to work on it, and I've had 8 games too, but I found the word. So here's Champ. McRaven across, takes the direct snap, and ball's on the ground.
Champ did fall on his own fumble there.
These Wildcats and misdirections got me fooled. It's tough.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, even there as a commentator, I was a little fooled there. I can't imagine from a linebacker perspective, where's the ball?
Yeah.
So
maybe on field it's a little different, but still,
I can't imagine it's any
seeing
easier.
over the offensive and different, not easier, but offensive and defensive linemen are not small guys.
No,
I have one of them sitting behind me in
especially-
Spanish class and in
especially
front of
when
me.
they're
so-
all. That's not fun.
No. And stays on his feet. Tristan Bosley.
Great move.
Big hit. Looked like some helmet contact. And the flag does fly. That flag went firework high. He took it out of the pocket and slung that thing straight in the air. No regard for who it landed on.
You think it'll be late hit here?
I would say late hit or
Unnecessary roughness?
I'll say unnecessary
potentially?
roughness is my second option there. Because I don't think it was targeting. I think it was just a really hard hit
Yeah, I wouldn't
to
call
the
it
upper
targeting,
portion of the
yeah.
body. Will be
It's against the defense.
unnecessary roughness.
The penalty is a personal foul against the Lions. A 15-yard penalty.
Unnecessary roughness on the Lions. So great run there by Tristan Bosley. Add on another 15, and the Knights are looking at a pretty manageable possession. Marched all the way
I'd say
down
so.
to the
Yeah.
36-yard line.
Francis Howell North Knight. First down.
See what the Knights can draw up.
Seamus back into the huddle. He's kind of, I mentioned it in the first half. He's been playing pacer from the field to the sideline all night. I feel like he's in every other play.
Yeah. Flags fly. False start on the Knights. Move them back 5 yards. 1st and 15.
I think, I can't see his face up here, but Champ Pauly, you can see the frustration on his face. It's kind of been a common theme. He'll get a snap and he'll get a good look, and it won't matter because one of his offensive linemen jumped.
I said, looking back at the St. Charles game, I bring it up a lot because high school is very penalized. But that one,
I've never seen anything like it.
St. Charles won 34-30, and St. Charles and the Knights combined had 34 penalties, easily for 200, 300 yards. I mean, it was the most ridiculous game I've ever watched. Beeger gets up there, and another flag.
I was just going to compliment his go up and get it, but I don't want to speak too soon.
Yeah.
That may just be coming right back.
Offensive pass interference would be the only thing I could think of that would go against Beeger. And illegal man downfield. The amount of plays in a row that there have been penalties.
That offensive line was a big reason for the success in the first half, and now they're detrimental in the second.
Yeah, false start and man downfield already.
Got to shore up your trenches here.
Yeah.
Brings up 1st and 20 from the 46.
Knights can't jump another snap.
First down marker, 2 counties over here.
And Bosley stays on his feet, an elusive back. Gets a couple yards on the carry.
Something's better than nothing.
Yeah. 2nd and 20. It's always a daunting test. 1st and 20. Now it's 2nd and 16.
Correction, make that 2nd and 17 from the 43.
Seamus McRaven checks on. He had a good first half, a couple nice carries, a couple nice receptions out the backfield, but haven't seen him much here. First 5 minutes of the second half. Beeger, single coverage, bottom of your screen, the motion McRaven across. Pauly keeps himself up the middle, gets maybe 4.
McRaven's been the main motion man.
Yeah, he's been up
a lot of M's there. Triple M.
Main motion man.
McRaven motion man.
He's been going north to south.
Back with his pacer.
Back with his pacer. Going on and off the field. Miller and Bosley check on. Going a bit of a smaller set here. I could imagine maybe some jet sweep once you get 3.
Some confusion.
Once you get 4 guys, such as you have Beeger out wide, but then you have Bosley. Never mind. You have 4 guys out wide. No jet sweep action.
Maybe.
See what the Knights can draw up here. Pauly back to throw. Beeger. Mikey Miller. Couldn't haul it in. Good coverage there by the safety.
Carson Howard's got a big leg, but not that big.
Yeah. Pass broken up there. Bryson Spears. Great over the top coverage safety. Broke it up there. Mikey Miller had a couple steps. If Champ didn't lob it, I think maybe Miller could have gotten underneath it. But, again, just great coverage there by Spears.
Yeah, I would more compliment the coverage rather than criticize the throw there. Yeah. I think that was a weird one for all 3 parties there. It's kind of a tough window for Pauly to fit that in. It's a weird ball for the receiver to try to catch.
Third bad punt snap.
And the corner just won that battle there. Get there.
Couldn't. Pfeiffer got held up by Braddix. Braddix decided he wasn't going to touch it.
Legend tonight, Braddix.
Yeah, he's been getting them up there. The Lions have not been able to convert, however. Both of his great returns have amounted to a goose egg on the scoreboard. So,
Kane, this has been a night full of changes for the Knights. They definitely look different than they have in these past few games. I feel like out of the half, they have not looked very strong, and they're digging in their feet here. They're holding that 1-point deficit. They're not going to let this game fall out of their hands here, or at least get out of reach.
One thing I have learned, and I do think the Knights are doing a good job of, and whistles are blown prior to the play, but just don't think the referee was still standing at the spot of the ball when they snapped it. So I don't think they signaled for play. There he goes. Topping drops to throw. Gets it. Marquise Watson. Wrapped up. Nice gain. Should get the first down. And move the sticks for the Lions. Say one thing I have learned is that the defense looks good here, but that's because they're well rested. If the offense can't keep the defense off of the field, the Knights are going to struggle. I watched that, and again, I'm an Iowa fan. Watched that in the Michigan State Iowa game last week. Iowa had like 5 first downs the entire game.
Yeah.
Iowa defensively that's what we're known for. If they play the whole game, big run there. Mitchell up the middle, breaks the tackle, stays on his feet. Finally brought down by Champ Pauly around the 45-yard line, but Karsten Mitchell, what a run.
Yeah, it almost appeared that he was kind of surprised he broke that tackle after he broke the first
Everybody kind of stopped and stood up for a second.
He kind of hesitated a little bit, it kind of appeared.
Yeah. We saw Pauly early as a runner just flooring defenders and stiff arms, spin moves, jukes, everything. He was getting what he wanted, and we haven't seen it. It's kind of begun to slow. But playing both sides of the ball is not easy, especially in high school sports.
Well, and
takes off, topping up the middle. Big gain. Gets a first, 3 plays, 3 first downs. That's tough on a defense.
I would less attribute that to Pauly and more the struggles that the offensive line has had so far. A lot of false starts, a lot of miscues. Pauly really hasn't had the opportunity to get past the first level.
So the defensive line has been in the backfield a lot.
Yeah, they made great adjustments in the halftime, and they definitely look ready to play. I feel like they weren't really in that opening drive against Pauly. I feel like he had 70 yards by himself.
Yeah, maybe 80, maybe 110. With the penalties, it's possible.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's always a fun statistic to look at after the game. How many yards did they truly run if you took out penalties and stuff like that? Yeah. I bet Pauly's would be one that would be hurt by that statistic. Yeah. Well, hurt in the fact that penalties hurt him a lot.
Yeah. There you go. Lions didn't get much there. 3 yards on first down. Knocking on the doorstep of the red zone. Topping can't find anybody. Almost knocked down, but stiff arms the defensive lineman, rolls out of the pocket, just needs to throw it away, and he just took too long to do so and does take a brutal hit there towards the end of the play. Not something you really want to see happen to a quarterback.
I got to give him credit,
often.
though. He was orchestrating the offense like a point guard, signaling his receivers down the field. He was trying to make a play there, and it just didn't develop.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, they get into that position. Either they're going to toss the ball away right before they got hit the first time, or they're going to go down. He rolls out of the pocket, stiff arms kind of out of there, rolls out to his right side, motions guys around. He has two defenders on his back, still manages to take his time, look through his progressions just a second time before he decides to chuck it out of bounds. That is good quarterback play. Great quarterback play.
It's something you still don't see with college quarterbacks from time to time. They struggle progressing through their
quarterbacks
league.
Specifically.
Wow. Shade, Kane. Shade.
Oh, my. And tough guy to bring down. Oh, and that flag toss from sideline into the hash marks.
I don't want to talk trash on either quarterback, but that might have been the best throw of the night.
He crow hopped into it and everything, and it was a great throw. These referees are actually impressing me.
Putting on a show, man.
That's holding on. The Lions move them back.
I got to compliment the referee crew in general. I feel like a lot of times in sports, referees want to make the game about themselves sometimes. And this team, they've just been calling it how it is. Some fan may say that, it's a lot of penalties, but so far, I mean, it's stayed true.
They've called what they needed to call.
Yeah, and it hasn't been really to one side either.
No.
It's been very 50-50.
Knights have been a little sloppier.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at is, they've been calling a true game.
So we are currently 8.5 minutes scoreless in the third quarter. Nobody's even licked into the red zone up until this point. Knights were close and then penalized them back. Topping, hoping to put his team in a position. Quarterback keeper, nowhere to go. The defense wasn't fooled. Great wrap-up tackle.
Kane, overall, this game has challenged my math skills. I would definitely have to say, it's a lot of subtracting and adding.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I'm pretty good at math, but, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah, I'd say Dominic Clayton and Javon Godfrey there in the backfield to wrap them up.
Big minus there.
Yeah. Might be more yards lost than yards gained in the second half. There's been a lot of penalties and a lot of sacks and a lot of tackles for loss.
It's been sloppy offense as compared to what we saw in the first half.
Slings it downfield, Topping tried to get him on the comeback. Pauly on the coverage could not complete the pass.
Pauly Island.
Yep. Pass intended there for Peyton Oxford. That's one of his first targets of the night. Coming into this game, Oxford and another guy we've talked about a lot tonight, Marquise Watson, combined for 815 yards, 7 touchdowns on just 56 combined receptions.
Yeah, I'd say that's got to be one of the bigger surprises of the night is that Topping has not found them as much as you would think. If I had to make a reference, those would be must starts in fantasy, and they just haven't put up that performance.
Yeah. David Beeger looked like a line drive punt there. And something I also didn't really touch on is that Carson Topping is the punter. So not only he doesn't work defensive side of the ball, no, he does a little bit, but not as much as other guys do. But he's a punter. He's not somebody that they expect to sling 80 yards downfield, Torrey Taylor style.
Yeah.
But if they need a punter, he can get the
were in their own territory. It's not necessarily where you're looking for, but definitely not a bad punt by any means.
Rather have a punt than not have a punt.
Yeah, exactly. Rather not be an arm punt either.
Yeah. Here's Pauly. Looking to lead out. He's had a little bit of a slow, not a bad, but a slow second half to start. Throws it there. Beeger tried to make a highlight reel catch. I'm not sure it was necessary.
Yeah, he tried to climb the ladder, but I think he could have stayed on the ground.
Yeah. He could use a step stool and just made it a little easier on himself.
Step stool, yeah, that would have been good. Yeah.
Tried
or even just a stool,
Yeah. I think he rented a crane for that one, actually.
Yeah.
And officials take it.
No need for the elevator, sorry. You're supposed to laugh, Kane. Gosh.
All right. And a man down on the field. Trainer and coach out to talk.
Looks to be from that Knight sideline.
Take a moment here.
It appears the coaches are communicating here and sort of signaled to his headset.
On checks.
We are not able to see
Jackson.
who it would be.
George Jackson, Xavier Holloway out to help him off the field. The injured man, Cole Bell, the 6'6", 280 sophomore.
Overall, you hate to see anybody hurt, but he's been a big part of the trenches on both sides of the ball.
It's offensive and defensive lineman.
You hate to see anybody hurt, but that's a big loss.
Especially when your offensive line did so well that first half. They struggled a little here in the second. But that first half, they just did so well, losing a key piece like Bell. Just it's physically it's tough on your team, and also
mentally.
Yeah, it's just it brings your energy down a little bit.
I agree.
He is hobbling. Looks to be that left leg.
Could it be his leg or his foot? I'm not sure.
Well, somewhere on that limb.
Yeah.
So praying that he will be okay and either make a return later tonight or into the fourth quarter.
Glad to see he'll get the the medical attention he needs.
Yes. And there's a run for no gain. Back to the line, if anything. Brings up a 3rd down.
Also pivotal in football. If they want to get this offense jump started here, this would be a big one to start that.
Yeah. 3rd and 10. Could we have a scoreless 3rd quarter? It's possible.
I would, if I had to make a prediction, Kane, I would say I could see that in our future.
Yeah. 2 minutes, not a lot of time. Neither of these offenses have really clicked. Had anything been working? Pauly rolls out to his right side. A little bootleg action, takes off, and a great wrap-up tackle there. Said his name already tonight, DJ Rivera in the backfield for another tackle for loss. He leads the team in tackles. That's his 41st.
The Kyle Hamilton twin.
Forces a 4th and 8. Mo Huff back to punt it away.
He's had a great night
left.
himself.
He has. He's kept the ball away from the returners, and it really has, it's been good. So got Jackson Pfeiffer, Seamus McRaven on both sides of your screen, ready to cover the punt. Not a heavy rush to try and block it from the Lions. They'll get their return. They'll get their blockers back. And takes the return. Speedster breaks a couple tackles up to the 50-yard line. And that was Marquise Watson. That was not Javion Braddock, who we've seen have the 2 explosive ones. I'm not sure if that was an injury, a personal coach and him issue, or what, or if it was just a decision made. To
Change
get
it up a little bit.
Yeah, get Marquise Watson involved after he's already bobbled 2.
If I had to
punts.
predict, I'm sure it was just just change something up.
Yeah.
We mentioned the scoreless 3rd quarter. Change something up. Yeah. The only thing I could maybe say about the punt team right now is Mo's almost kicking it so well and so hard, it's not getting the gunners enough time to get to the return man.
Marquise Watson, bottom of your screen, looks like he's inching up on that line. Might be
careful,
offsides.
Marquise.
So his toes were creeping up, in a big run there by Mitchell to stay on 1st down for the Lions. Maybe time for
the Lions don't want me to be right about this scoreless 3rd quarter.
Clock is not running, I will say.
Carter Mitchell, the ball carrier.
Clock stuck at 59 seconds, and there it
they're
continues.
right there. You had to use your announcer curse real fast.
Works so well.
It
works
really
so
does.
well.
Announcer jinx, maybe. Yeah, I feel like that's more jinx.
Yeah. Here we go. Topping, looking to make some magic here. Motion across. Handoff back to Mitchell. Up the middle. Consistently, Mitchell is getting 8 to 20 yards a carry. He's tough to stop.
He's like Devon Achan in the middle of last year in fantasy. I swear that guy would get 20 yards every time he touched the ball.
Your similes have been flying off and up and down the field tonight. You got, he's like him. He's like him. Is this Derrick Henry? You've been all over. I like him, though. Good comparisons.
Hey, man. How's
your fantasy team looking this year?
Kane,
I play you this week.
Kane, I went from in the league I pay money for. I went from 6-0 to now sit at 7-7. After 7 the Rashawn or the Rashid. Yeah, we play. There's 2 matchups a week. You play the average and you play head to head. I bring up that league first because the league that Kane and I play together has not been pretty. I sit at a cool 2-5. Kane has actually done really well. This is your first year playing fantasy football, isn't it?
Other than playing my sister and mother and father, yes.
Wow. Okay.
So, and none of us really knew what we were doing. I was picking like just guys that I knew, such as Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
And it was a rough lineup, but.
I do think he'd be frustrated with me if I didn't shout him out here, but our producer, Owen, sits at a perfect 7-0 currently, part of 2.3% of teams remaining that are undefeated. 2.2. Wow.
Part of that 2%.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that'll be the end of our 3rd quarter, and the scoreless prediction was correct. Fort Zumwalt East Lions 14. Francetown North Knights 13.
My prediction rings true.
It's my prediction.
It was my prediction.
All right. What?
Gosh, man.
What are we looking at here in the fourth quarter? The Knights down obviously had very I'll be frank, the very little offensive promise. Neither really did the Lions. But
to be honest with you, Kane, nothing changes from what I said at the end of the first half. Honestly, that third quarter was just not one to forget because it was ugly. It just had very little impact on the game, I feel. The game kind of just stayed the same, and it's kind of like it's just one quarter to play.
Yeah. So the first half offense from both sides was great. Slowed down a little bit in the third quarter. Actually, a lot of it.
I would attribute that to better defensive play, but also, I do feel they just slowed down. Yeah, I think that's a big thing, too. When you're not having to chase down the quarterback every other play, you'd have a little bit more energy and can keep the guys in front of you a little better.
Yeah. So we got 12 minutes of play left in the high school Misha regular season. Who will come out on top? A closely contested battle between the Knights, between the Lions. Senior night. There's the first play. Mitchell wrapped up and pushed back by the Knights defense.
Forward progress should keep him at that original spot as he did not try to go forward after that.
No.
Carter Mitchell, the ball carrier, gain of 9.
Yeah, Kane, I mean, he's keeping your predictions correct. I mean, he's getting, like you said, he's getting 8 to 20 yards every time.
Just big chunks. Just big chunk running basically the whole night. Especially the third quarter, though. He was great back during the
Devon
third.
Achan.
And they go. They've done the same formation we're expecting. Quarterback keeper from Topping. There it is up the left side. Touchdown, Lions. Topping, third rushing touchdown of the night. Add it to his season total. That's his 8th. Unstoppable is how I would describe.
1, 2, 3. Topping has a pizza party in the end zone.
Topping there, running it in. All 3 of his rushing touchdowns have been inside the 5-yard line. Very tough to stop. Very, very tough to stop. He's a big guy, and he can find the end zone. It's not hard for him, especially when you have an offensive line as strong as that one.
I'll keep playing into the joke. He reminds me of Josh Allen right now. You know, just big guy, hard to stop in small spaces.
Takes the 2-point conversion up the right side, hits his own blocker, and the Knights will have a phenomenal hold on the 1.
And that is a very good break for the Knights. A 7-point lead as compared to an 8 definitely changes a lot. Having to go for that 2-point conversion to tie the game after this possession, assuming they score.
Assuming they got the 2-point, it would have been 9.
Oh,
it would have been
right,
a 2.
You're right. Yeah,
two-score
you're right.
game. So yeah.
Gosh, it's an even bigger break than I would have. That was a fault in my math.
Hey,
there,
don't
Kane.
forget it though, Carson Howard. Weren't you talking your big math guy earlier?
Hey, let me talk my stuff, man.
Don't forget it. Carson Howard on that second touchdown did miss the PAT. Not sure if that's going to tie in at all later. I'm sure he's had time to clear his head. Take it with a grain of salt if you're a kicker if you miss one, but especially a doink like he had, it wasn't that he shanked it, into his right guard's back, but still a good kick. But that might play into factor, especially with a kick as important as a PAT would be here if they were to go try and tie the game with one. But 11 minutes left. Quick strike there. Only took 45 seconds of the fourth quarter to score. So scoreless third, but already got some points on the board here in the fourth. Just 6 though, with the missed 2-point conversion.
Yeah, I do like the decision from that Lion sideline though, because again, like we said, if it would have made it 9 points, 2-possession lead, that changes a lot.
Yeah,
and it's still a 7-point lead if without it.
There was very little to lose in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
So again, for Zumwalt East, 20 points. Francetown North, 13. Clock is ticking. 11 minutes to go in the football game. Knights taking a second to talk this one over. What does a 3-and-out mean for this Knights program?
I don't like to throw the word around too much because it has a lot of weight, but it's a legacy game for a lot of different people. These seniors, they've played their whole 4-year football career for this night exactly. A 3-and-out here would really destroy
Temper the
things.
chances.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say destroy things. There's 11 minutes left on the clock, but
at this point, you'd be handing the ball back to him at the 40 or 50-yard line.
I also, that's a very good point.
You need to get a few first downs, if not a score here. There's a nice toss to Beeger, but he couldn't get under it. Faced heavy pressure there from the D-line. We talked first half a little about passing. It wasn't that passing was bad, is that it was just they hadn't needed it as much. I'm not going to lean to the passing is bad side, but really on both sides of the ball, passing has not been.
It certainly has soured a bit. Yeah. It's less been that it's
been a lot of underthrows.
We've been unexposed to the passing. It just has not connected. Either quarterback has not really connected with their receivers too much tonight. I'd say stick with the run for both.
A deep throw by Pauly.
I almost had to eat my words there, but I reigned true still.
Xander Love had the open look. Nice throw from Pauly, but he tried to turn back and just slipped. No rain today, so I'm not sure where the slick turf is coming from, but
turf
just
monster,
happens sometimes.
Turf monster, man.
Yeah. Just grab your ankle and pull you down. Here are the Knights, 3rd and 10. Closing in on that 3-and-out. It has to be an avoidable situation. Get 5 yards here, and you might go for it on 4th. There's a halfback screen. Seamus McRaven breaks it up. First down, Knights, and a few more.
Kane, we've been asking for it all night.
I love the play call. You've been faced with heavy pressure on the past 2 throws. You do it again. You drop back. What is the one play call that you make facing a heavy blitz? It's a halfback screen every single time.
I think my favorite thing, I've never been a coach in my life before, but my favorite thing in coaching is when you have confidence in your players, even through mistakes. Champ, 2 long incompletions there. Maybe you try to go for the run because the pass game hasn't worked, but you go back to Champ and you allow him to make a play. He didn't sling it 40 yards down the field, but he made the right pass, and it was a good play for the first down.
Hand off to McRaven. Brought down after a gain of 1. Excuse me. Student section still packed in here. Full house of attendance on both sides. Some Ninja Turtles making their way around the student section.
That's what we should have dressed up as, Kane. Ninja Turtles? That would have been awesome.
I never watched it.
What?
I didn't grow up on Nickelodeon.
Guys,
I was a Disney kid.
I feel old.
No,
it
was always on, but I was a Disney kid. I just never watched it.
So was I.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up a little bit, I'm still watching cartoons. Bluey is still
phenomenal.
Top tier.
Show.
Yeah, okay, good.
And there's a deep throw by Pauly to no man's land. And Beeger almost found it.
Wow.
Just a lob up there. Looked like it was heading down the middle, but it, from my perspective, didn't look like anybody was going to get there. Beeger turned on the Jets, made a diving effort in and out of both hands.
he got he got horizontal there.
And it's like one of those carnival games where you have to toss the wiffle ball into the bucket. It was right in, and right out. So.
Gosh, those carnival games, man.
I hate them. Actually,
so rigged.
If I could get my money back for them, I'd be rich.
Dude, we'd all be so rich. I think we just need to abolish carnivals.
I would say that's probably a safe
There's
bet.
Clowns there. I'm not a fan. I'm scared.
Nope.
Not a fan.
I got Fright Fest tomorrow.
Oh,
Halloween coming up in a week.
Not a big Fright Fest guy.
Not a big Fright Fest guy.
I'm not a big Halloween guy. I feel like that's kind of an unpopular opinion, but it's just, Thanksgiving is the top tier fall holiday, in my opinion. I think Thanksgiving or Halloween is clear.
Okay, well,
little brother.
Thanksgiving football is. I'll give you that one.
I get turkey. I get mashed potatoes. I get stuffing. I get to stuff my face. Thanksgiving is the clear favorite. Clear favorite. Come on, guys.
I'm going to go unpopular with you. I'm going to say that turkey is a terrible meat. And ham.
You just haven't had it right, Kane. I think you need to stop by on Thanksgiving.
I'll stop by the Kettinger household.
You need to eat Kevin Kettinger's turkey. It's awesome.
Okay. I'm here for it.
Yep.
Save me some.
Yeah.
I'll be up in Iowa, hopefully at the Nebraska game at the end of the season.
Okay.
So Heroes
That's
Trophy.
exciting. Heroes
And
Turkey, I like that.
Heroes Trophy, I apologize.
Oh, there you go.
It's that rivalry game.
You said turkey.
I'm sure I did. I was thinking about food.
When are you not thinking about food?
All right, Braeden. So there's the timeout on the field. 9.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Knight's going to looking at a big 3rd and 14. Down 7. Facing adversity. Big challenge ahead. I said it pre-game. It's a make-or-break game for these programs, make-or-break plays, and this is probably the biggest one we've seen up until this point.
Honestly, it's some of the biggest plays of these guys' careers. We keep referencing back to that Week 2 matchup against St. Charles, which that was probably
it was the biggest talking point.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, I talked about Champ had a deep throw at the end of the game to try to tie the game up or try to get back in it after the miracle touchdown from Jordan Rowe. I called it the biggest throw of his career. I think this has now surpassed it. I think this is probably the biggest throw of his career to this point, if this is a throw.
This could be one of his last, meaningful.
Yeah, I'm glad he can't hear you right now, Kane. He's going to get emo.
Drops back. Champ Pauly. And it's picked off. Pauly throws his 7th pick of the season. That one intercepted by Nehemiah Carter.
You hate to see
Carter.
it. You hate to see it. We built up that play because it really was one of the more important for this game, and it fell in the wrong hands.
Yeah, that's all Pauly really could do there, though. You just got to toss the ball up and hope somebody comes down with it. Regardless, it wasn't a great toss. But Nehemiah Carter, the junior, he's a wide receiver as well. Doesn't get as many reps, but he really is a force on the defensive side. Showing it there, gets the pick and gets a big return to put his team down on the 21.
That puts him on the doorstep of the red zone here.
A score here, I'm not saying it would put the game away.
Their kicker does have a boot here, so you are definitely approaching field goal range if you're not already in it.
Here they go. Topping quarterback keeper incoming. Hands it off to Mitchell. Mitchell takes it. There's another 8-20 automatic gain. He has just had it easy tonight. The offensive line giving him what he needs, and then Mitchell's just been taking it. Carson Mitchell, just a phenomenal back. And I keep saying phenomenal, but that's what a lot of these players are really proving to me tonight. It's just the running game from whoever has the ball, especially on the Zumwalt East side, phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's been great. The offensive line has been a piece of art. The blocking has been a masterclass. Very few holding penalties on the Zumwalt side.
Yeah, and it's sort of highlighted the mistakes on the other side of the field. I feel like it's magnified when North does get a holding or a false start because
topping quarterback keeper left side, knocked down at the 3-yard line.
Such a rarity for the other team across the field.
Agree. And they'll sub on some unfamiliar faces.
5 yards brings up 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line.
I hate to bring it up again, but that interception really was a killer as that clock continues to run. Also, your time to come back is
limited.
It's very
and it's only
limited.
Getting smaller.
Yeah.
On checks Julian Bratcher. The junior hasn't got much playing time tonight, and flags fly.
It's a false start.
I think that was actually our longest streak without a flag. That had to be like
no, it was on the offense.
I said at least it was 15 plays where there wasn't a flag thrown.
Yeah.
And they'll move the ball back. Second and goal.
I'm usually not too keen to pick up
9.
on some of those penalties, but I did see that the running back to the left did jump a bit early.
Here they go, and they'll be stopped short on the 3.
It's hard to preserve such a bad outcome for the Knights here, but if you are able to force a field goal instead of a score, you do see a bit of glimmer of hope. A 10-point lead as compared to 14 does change quite a bit.
13, 14, or 15. You could go a lot of ways there.
Yeah, the Lions
they've been aggressive
a lot
in their
of
play
gutsy calls. I can't count out the fact that they could go for the 2 points.
Marquise Watson, top of your screen. He's up north. The lone man isolated. Single coverage on the freshman, Mikey Miller. You could go target him. And timeout called. Timeout by the offense.
Kane, we talked about how nice the weather is. I think we had announcer curse on the weather because it's starting to get a little chilly.
It is. We're in an air conditioned box, Braeden.
The window's open.
We're in an air conditioned and heated box, Braeden.
The window's open.
Think about how they feel. I'll give you credit for it because the student section's clearing out. You see it getting a little thin.
It's a little
here.
brisk, Kane. It's a little brisk.
It's a little brisk.
I'm just a little guy, man.
Just a little guy.
Not a whole lot of meat on my bones. Keep me warm.
5'4", 5?
I am 5'8", for your information.
That's what your driver's license says, anyway.
Hey, the driver's license says 5'7". I have put on a little weight since this photo is taken.
Weight accounts to height now.
I am not 140.
But you're just a liar. You're just.
I am not a liar.
5'8". 5'8", my butt.
I am 5'8". I stand next to my 6-foot friends and still look short, but not that short.
Yeah, and I'm as tall as Carson Topping. And he'll take it himself. Up the middle. Carson Topping. Touchdown. His 4th rushing touchdown of the night. An unstoppable force.
A third of the way to the dozen.
Versus a very movable defense. These Knights are tired. Apologize. Carter Mitchell, the one to get the carry there. Misdirection had me fooled. Carter Mitchell, he picks up his first touchdown on the night.
Tisk.
Carson Mitchell picks up his first touchdown on the night. His 4th rushing on the year. This second half, Mitchell really's gotten what he wanted when he wants it. That'll put the lead at 14 for the Lions.
Kane, I hate to be doom and gloom, but with not a whole lot of time left on the clock and now a 2-possession lead, we start to talk about what the outcome of the season looks like. If the Knights do fall to winless, this may be one of the better winless performances from a team. There's a lot of games where they didn't look like they were in it, but there's also this game in St. Charles where it's like you guys were really in this game for a really long time.
Coming off last year, last game, Knights played Troy, the 5th-ranked district opponent, state opponent, was Troy Buchanan Trojans. They lost 55-0.
Yeah.
It wasn't a contest. I'm going to be honest. It was not. The first quarter was a solid performance.
Yeah.
After that, it was touchdown. Zumwalt coming off a 41-14 loss to Washington High School. Also, first quarter, closely contested. Then it was just touchdowns on the other side of the ball. Right here, you might not have scored the second half yet, but as a Knight, you still have plenty of hope. Squib kick onside, lets it drop, and that was a scary one. A sigh of relief from the black and gold.
Kane, I'm not a big fan of that. You are up 2 possessions now, and you are sort of cruising to the win. I'm not a big fan of the squib kick. It kind of feels like salt in the wound.
Well, kicking for Zumwalt East has been a struggle all season.
Yeah.
So I don't think at this point
was that what I'm thinking it was, or was that truly just the best option for them?
I think that really is just the best option. Sending it deep. I don't know if they really have the. Now, I mean, accuracy isn't really a problem when you're doing a kickoff, but
they don't have
they have the freshman kicker coming in.
I see.
As Luke Trankler.
I see what you're saying.
He's just a freshman, so. He's just a little freshman.
Maybe there isn't the intent. You're not a little freshman. You're a very big freshman.
His backup is Aiden McKay, also a freshman. Both kickers in the lineup are freshmen. So I think trying to send it deep and then having them recover.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think it really is like a lost man on the field. There's one. Sam Mahiran turns it upfield. Stutter step. Great tackle brought down by Bryson Spears.
I do wonder.
I like the pass.
Yeah, I like the pass, but I do wonder. I think it's kind of been a pattern all night. Champ's sort of airing out these passes a little bit. They could have a little bit more zip on it, but it ended up working out.
He's holding down left trigger.
Okay. All right. He's played too much college football.
I'm still terrible.
Oh, yeah, we know. I would destroy you.
There's another halfback screen. Seamus McGraven, good block there on the outside. McGraven turns it upfield, back-to-back first downs.
There's not a lack of motivation on that nice sideline.
Don't count him out. Don't call it a comeback. I don't know. That's what my dad always quotes. I have some old song from the 90s, and every time there's any glimpse of a comeback, it's, I just don't know who sings it, but don't call it a comeback. Anyway.
It's true. Don't call it a comeback.
So what comes to my brain?
Don't call it a comeback.
There it is, over the middle. Tristan Bosley, another completed pass. Gain of 6. Knights looking functional here. It's almost like this weird feeling I get when I like play football, like in the backyard and stuff. It's like it's always just casual. You might not score every drive, but in that final desperation moment, those drives typically you can get the ball 40 yards downfield in an instant. Like, I don't know if it's a mindset flip or if it's a defensive shift.
Yeah, the problem, Kane, is the roadblock for me ends up right around here, the 30-yard line, right when I'm approaching field goal range.
And there's another short pass. Tristan Bosley just in and out of the hands.
Pass ball's incomplete. Intended for Bosley. Brings up 3rd and 3 from the 30.
Kane, we look at it about 5 minutes remaining. It's not an impossible feat, 2 touchdowns, but it's definitely going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's not an easy comeback here.
I think you're kind of forced into the pass, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it has not been your strong suit all night.
And an aired out throw. Lots of early contact.
Oh, so close. You hate to see
He had it in his hands. David Beeger couldn't come down with the football, and that would have been a real game-changing play.
The ground was not his friend there. Could not bring it down.
It's tough. People don't realize that, but really when you are falling, it's just tough.
Well, yeah, because the whole throw, you're trying to locate the ball and you're trying to find it.
He was trying to tiptoe in bounds too.
You're not really thinking about what's under you.
No, the ground's not moving. At least that's one thing. I think that's reliable.
It's one constant, right?
Pauly,
yeah, I think tracking over the shoulder.
4th down. Pauly keeps it, turns nothing into something. Sideline. Champ Pauly on the 5. Touchdown. Francis Howell North. Champ Pauly.
King Henry, is that you?
A 4th and 3. Met 2 defenders, stared him down, gave him
He had one thing to say, get off me.
Turned it up the sideline. Jets, great blocking on the interior. Champ Pauly takes it 27 yards to the rack.
I think King Pauly might have to start get used a little bit.
Well, maybe if they get the win. They're not there yet, but that is a good start for the Knights.
I mean, Kane, nonetheless, though, this has been a great performance for him and a great way to cap off his North home career. He still has one more game.
2 rushing
at the very
touchdowns.
Minimum. Yeah.
Mo Huff on the field goal.
Senior
not
night
Carson
getting
Howard.
an opportunity to kick for one of his final opportunities.
Congratulated by his teammates. An electric play by Champ Pauly. Keeps spirits alive here at FHN Stadium.
My next question, there's 5 minutes remaining, but does onside kick even grace your brain here?
I don't think the timing makes sense. I think if you're going to do it, you can try a squib.
I don't know. I think I disagree. I think in high school, the hands are not great on the hands team. I think you got to think about it, right?
I think if you do it, it has to be more of a surprise than anything. Can't line up.
But it also is not the NFL. You do not have to. You don't have to let the other team know that you're going for the onside kick. I was not a big fan of that rule change whenever that came into play because as an old school football fan, it's kind of fun. I can think back to that Saints Super Bowl opening the second half. They went for a surprise onside kick.
Why'd you do it?
Hey, but it worked.
It worked. Sean Payton.
He's always been one for trickery, and you know, it worked.
See what the play call is here.
If I had to guess, it's probably going to be a touchback.
Yeah. Carson Howard just going to beam it into the Milky Way.
They do have both Mo and Carson both on the field. There's a bit of confusion here.
And not sure.
Unlucky
the
bounce.
idea was there. That was a hit in the back there. Not sure how the refs didn't catch that one. Dylan Hollis. He plays with a lot of energy. He is a fun guy to watch.
Yeah.
He's got the long hair. He flies around the field. He just puts his body on the line and
so much passion
talks
for
a lot
football.
of crap. Yeah, you see him walking on the Knights logo now. He doesn't care. He's there to have fun and hit people. So it's fun
hey,
guy
I mean, a lot of people start playing football that way, and
Yep.
I love that he's carrying that passion all the way through.
Yep.
It didn't fall your way, but I really loved that decision because it shows that you aren't just gonna lay down and take the loss here. You're gonna go for it till the very last minute.
Mo getting
and I love the trickery there. It didn't work, but you tried it.
Yeah, Mo getting the students on their feet. Mitchell, left side, cuts it back. Wrapped up, gain of 9, just short of the first down. Student section, barren.
A little bleak. It would be nice if they had a full student section here, make some noise, provide a little bit of an extra variable to Topping's progression here. If we can force a false start or something,
It's not quite a Mercedes-Benz dome, but it doesn't it doesn't keep the noise echoing. But
I mean,
having the idea that there's that fan element there, maybe it doesn't really affect the play calling since it's not loud and banging around off the walls. But the defense, they know defense knows that they have fans to support their back.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium is no Lumen Field, but
big hit there, wrapped up. Nice run there, Carter Mitchell. Carter Mitchell, he is a great back, considering he's just a sophomore. He doesn't look like it. He's one of the big guys on that field.
That is a big kid.
But
I mean, he
stands,
doesn't make Topping look very humongous.
He stands helmet to helmet with Topping, so
bright career in front of him, but he's going to try to spoil their senior night.
See if he can. 7-point game. Clock ticks under 4. 4-minute offense time. Topping fakes the handoff, keeps it himself on the first down. Nearing on that first down, up the left sideline. Big hit and the flag. Another great toss by the referee.
He's playing long toss, man.
I don't know if the wind was to his back or what's happening, but he's just slinging it. That will be a first down unless it gets called back.
Based on where he threw that flag, I wouldn't rule it out. Maybe he was trying to throw it in the direction of the offensive line. I'm not sure.
Lions coming back.
Typically
and
they do throw the flag
back.
where. Okay.
It does come back. Well, it's no problem to throw the flag where the foul was for him. He can.
I was just going to say they've been
coast.
doing that all night.
Yeah, he could be up here in the press box and he'd still drill whoever had the foul.
Just
let him know.
Give me one attempt. Give me one attempt, ref.
I'd probably hit a cheerleader or a parent sitting 10 feet in front of us.
No, I'm dotting up that end right in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Call me Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I won't. There you go. So force. See how this play affects. See how this penalty is going to affect. Penalties declined. Referee's talking it over. Boys in the black and white have a decision.
Definitely a long deliberation here from the referees, but I mean, this is a very high emotion, this play definitely.
The play was good for a first down. The penalty was assessed after the play. There'll be a 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. But because the ball was carried for the yard to gain, it'll be 1st and 10 from the 49.
So a 15-yard penalty keeps the first down. I'm not exactly sure what they were offsetting penalties.
I'm not sure.
I
That was
just
definitely
listened
a
to the PA
mouthful
announcement.
for the. Yeah,
and
I was just gonna say.
I think the PA was a little confused as well. So
I mean, I understand, Kane. I mean, that's quite a long penalty.
yeah, 15 yards, but not there. And sometimes you add yards here, but not a 15 because they did this. But we're gonna set the ball here on a first down, but still move them back 5
When
yards.
I'm looking from the bigger picture, that onside kick appears to even be an even better decision after they kind of are stuck around this middle of the field. Sure, you could have just kicked it back and put them on their 25, but I'm not sure your situation would be much different here.
No. The black and white's still talking it over.
The Zebras.
Yeah, Zebras tonight are actually preying on the Lions. That's something you don't see very often. But
No,
they have been throwing a lot of penalties at Zumwalt East.
They're getting their
It's been
revenge.
rough.
Kane, I am not sure I've seen a deliberation this long.
We saw one in the other game. I can't remember what it was, which game it was, but you were down for Studline, your performance a couple nights ago.
My awesome performance. You need to add awesome.
Nope, just Studline performance.
No, it was awesome.
It was just a performance.
I know
Braeden.
everyone was looking at the top right corner watching the guy up there making everybody else look
I thought you were on the bottom left. No, but nobody was looking at you, Braeden. Sorry to tell you.
Kane, you didn't know which one it was me?
No, I did. I'm just messing with you. There's a run up to the left side.
I mean, I'd
forces
understand
2nd and 8.
staring in the center because Mr. Owen Gonzalez,
Our producer,
dancing in the middle. But
dancing is a stretch. I'm just kidding.
be nice to our producer.
Just
Be
kidding.
nice.
See what happens. 2nd and 6. 3 minutes approaching. 3 minutes left of high school football.
Gosh,
It's
Kane.
a tough sentence to get out.
Gosh, Kane.
College football leaving sucks, but high school football, now that I'm in high school, it's a whole different feel. Got 12 months.
You have 3 more seasons of this.
Yeah. So your freshman was a COVID year, and then didn't call him sophomore, and
Yep. I got the September call up last year. I was a pseudo rookie, and then this year's my full season up in the bigs. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yes, sir. Was your first call my first call?
Yes, we called for the first time.
So we have
together.
called every game. Every game you've called, I've called, except for maybe some other ones mixed in with Parker.
For football, yeah.
Yeah, football-wise.
The only football games I've ever called was with you, Kane.
Dang. Dynamic duo, Carson Topping wrapped up in the backfield. Major hit there from the D-line. Z Berger, the 5'11", 240 D lineman. Force is a 4th down.
Kane, I cannot.
The biggest defensive play.
I cannot express to you enough how big of a play that was for the North Knights here. That just it breathes a little bit.
It doesn't
of hope.
matter. It's right here.
It's a little bit of
everything
hope.
on the line. 4th and 3.
Everyone on the edge of their seat.
Topping keeps it himself. Breaks through the second line. Doesn't get 3. He gets 25 yards. Carson Topping.
Will we see a long toss from the Zebras? It appears they'll keep
a vacuum
their flag.
cleaner sucks the air straight out of the north sideline. The energy is gone. The breaths were held. The breaths were released.
17-yard gain.
Yeah, Kane, if I'm trying to strategize a game plan here, the only thing you really have left is maybe a sack, and you push them out of field goal range here. It does not look great. That was a play you needed to make, and it didn't fall your way.
Field goal here would just about put it away.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try to push him to the edge of his range and just hope for a miss.
Yeah.
Use all your timeouts, ice him like it's Madden.
You can't take it. You can't take him with you. North now with one.
Wouldn't that be
left.
nice though? Like especially the not so aggressive head coach that doesn't use a whole lot of timeouts. If he just could carry him throughout the season.
We have 18 timeouts built up to the last half.
That would be awesome.
Both teams with one timeout, minute and a half left. I feel like I just said we have 1 quarter left of football, and now we're down to a minute and a half, and it's just as stressful as it was 11 minutes ago.
I can't imagine that last timeout's used from the Lions. Maybe to give their kicker a couple extra attempts. You'd have to imagine that the Knights would use that timeout to try to ice him. It's an interesting situation. I wouldn't say that the hope is lost for the Knights, but
I don't think they're ready to kick. I think
well,
the Lions.
It is still first down. I'm speaking very early.
I think the Lions are ready to hunt, and they're going to get back into that end zone. I don't think there's any reason that the Lions don't look.
Topper's not done with his pizza party. He wants to get back in the kitchen.
Get back to spinning. It looks like an extended timeout.
Timeout called by Zumwalt East. That's their final timeout.
And you just said Zumwalt East wasn't going to call the timeout. They take the timeout. So they just go back-to-back timeouts?
They have a lot to – I mean, Kane, this is a very high-stress situation. A lot to talk over.
But what if there's what ifs are going to go forever. But if you have a turnover or something happens, you now have 0 timeouts to stop and think. You have 0 timeouts to strategize. You just burned 2 in a row.
If you're the Knights, that kind of goes in your favor. You're hoping for mischief here.
Yeah.
For the Knights, you got to pack the box here, right? You know, the run has been what's killing you. I'm not sure that you're going to prioritize the pass, especially with – I mean, the Lions are more playing against the clock than they are the Knights. So a run – wow.
Sits down, takes a really long knee.
Kane, I'm very surprised. So they are prioritizing the kick here.
If they even need it. What is a 40-second play clock?
Following the kneel down, it'll be 2nd and 16 from the 31-yard line.
Knights take their final timeout.
I'm definitely perplexed if I had to put a word for it. You know, it's
just give it to Top.
I don't know if I've ever seen a situation like this where you are kneeling down on 2nd down with a minute. You know, it's a curious decision. I understand why you do that, but
drop back 6 yards.
Yeah, that was the
not
other
even
thing
a field goal
It was a deep
opportunity.
drop back, and then the kneel. But I mean, well, and also he didn't really burn that much time either. It would be one thing if he was able to sit back there for a couple seconds and burn a little bit more time.
It was maybe 4 or 5,
if that.
Does it again, drops back out of field goal range now, takes the knee.
So the strategy for the Lions is they're trying to burn all the time off. They're not really prioritizing a kick.
No. Say at this point,
but
really it's really one more. It's one more play.
Can you burn a whole minute off?
It's one more play.
Oh, that's true.
That's
I guess
it.
the clock's never going to stop.
Yeah, 20 seconds. Tick it down to 30. One more kneel down.
What is
and the game's over.
Yeah, because after this, it'll be even with the play clock.
Zumwalt East to close out their 3rd win of the season. And they'll take...
Not the time for mistakes.
Take the delay of game. Moving back 5 yards. Take a kneel. Get out of dodge. The Knights. So close. Got it down back within 7. Got it back down within 7. Couldn't get it all put together. 3rd and 28. And that knee will end the Misha High School season, regular season for Francis Howell North and Fort Zumwalt East. Fort Zumwalt comes out of this one with a 27 to 20 point lead, a victory over the Howell North Knights. First half, again, Zumwalt East led 14 to 13. Great offensive potential from both sides. Second half, Knights just couldn't keep it going. They will finish their season 0-9. It's Brett Bevel's final game as a North head coach. Not the way he wanted to end it. But in my opinion, we've been here for every single one. This is their second best game of the year. Next to the St. Charles game, week 2. They had some rough stretches in between, but they really did finish strong. For Zumwalt East, you gotta hand that game ball to your man, Carson Topping. You could go to Carson and Mitchell too. He had a great second half. Carson Topping ran through the defense. He had 3 touchdowns. Mitchell had the other one. The run game was really the story of the game tonight. What do you got? What do you got to take away from it? You know, playoffs are obviously coming up too, but
we talked about building momentum for that final playoff game. And I still, despite the loss, I still think you did that. I feel that Champ looked really awesome tonight. You kind of saw flashbacks to what we saw at the beginning of the season where he was just that spark plug that just completely changed how you cover that North offense. And I think that's a positive sign. I think at times that defense looked really strong. They forced Topping to have to progress through his reads quite often. Rushing ability was not really – it was just something that was going to be a part of their game all night, despite whatever the defense did. Topping is one of those players that no matter how you try to scheme up against him, he's going to change. He's a game changer. So, yeah, it's a rough loss for the Knights, but definitely an encouraging one. Like you said, I think it's their second best performance of the season thus far. Overall, I think it's a loss, right? But considering they were all losses, I wouldn't consider it to be one of their worst.
Yeah, Braeden. One of the most impressive things I think about, to me, is high school football is the dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like every game that we prepped for, obviously we had Champ Pauley on the north side of things, but every game that we prepped for, the quarterback was the second or sometimes the third leading rusher. Every quarterback the Knights faced, every quarterback that the Lions faced, the Trojans, the Wolves, it didn't matter what team was there. Every team in high school football has a dual threat quarterback. Now, whether they can do much with their legs and with their arm, that's kind of a balance that not a lot of guys can find. Champ Paul, I think, he did get there. He had a great senior season. The offensive line was definitely a struggle for the Knights, but they made do with what they had and had a great performance tonight. The Lions side of things, Topping didn't have a lot of chances to throw the ball. It wasn't necessarily that the chances weren't there. It's that the chances weren't necessary. There was no reason to take a risk downfield when you had Carson Mitchell for 12 yards, and then you had yourself as Carson Topping for another 8. There was no reason why you would need to put the ball in the air and risk an interception. But it was a great senior night for the Knights heading into the playoffs. Tonight, our stream team up here in the booth producing was Owen and Morgan. Down on the field, we had Mikey, Luis, Leslie, and Hunter and Bree.
Yes.
And then right here, it was Kane Manfull and Braeden Kettinger. It was a great night announcing with you. We're so glad that you guys joined us tonight for this Friday night action to end off the Misha High School varsity football season. Thanks for having us, and we'll see you basketball season. Basketball season. We got winter wrestling. We got swim. Tons of exciting stuff ahead. So signing off from FHN Media.